Welcome to St. Cloud State University on a warm afternoon here at Husky Stadium for the 2015 edition of the Minnesota Tackle Cancer All-Star Football Game as the North takes on the South. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox, joined today by Bill Hunstock and also 1998 All-Star Ryan Iverson from Eden Prairie. And Ryan, it had to be a thrill to play in this. At that time, it was Metro versus Outstate. They've gone to North versus South a few years back, but I don't think it changes the dynamic. Just a lot of fun to play in this.
What the dynamic that a lot of people don't understand, Jay, is that you're representing your community, first of all, but you're also, for some of these guys playing in small towns, it's their chance to play against the big city kids, the Eden Prairie, the Maple Groves, and it's a chance to put their name on the map, and it's a great week. The camaraderie that you build throughout the week, I still have great memories and great friendships from it, and it all accumulates here today on a great afternoon, and it's your chance, one more high school football game. It's really a fun week, should be a great game.
And Bill, both of the coaches, when we talked to them, one of the first things they mentioned is how respectful, how smart these kids are. They pick everything up. I mean, it's kind of a dream situation to have for the coaches as well.
Oh, absolutely. From a coaching standpoint, coaching an all-star game like this is fantastic because you got guys that are highly motivated. Most of them are very, very skilled. They've had a lot of success in high school, and they've been well coached. So you get the best of both worlds. You get good, smart kids who are motivated to play, and all you have to do is just get them going in the right direction and turn them loose. And that's basically what both coaching staffs have told us, that, hey, we got good kids. We know they can play football. All we got to do is just get them in the right direction, line them up in a straight line, and let them play football. And I think that's going to be a fine game from that standpoint because the kids will determine the tempo of the game.
Well, Ryan, most of these kids, not all certainly, but most are going to be playing college football. How good of a stepping stone is this week to jump into that?
Well, it's a great thing in a number of ways. First and foremost, you don't want to get injured. So you're always kind of playing with that in the back of your mind. But that's when you do get injured, is when you hold back. So you want to go out and play hard, but I used it as a great measuring stick. Hey, I'm playing against the best of the best. Where am I at? I was going to the Gophers. I wanted to show kids that were maybe going to lesser schools that I belonged at the University of Minnesota. So it's a measuring stick all week long. The other hard part that people don't understand is these kids aren't used to playing together. And in football, it's such a team game. It's such timing and trusting your teammates. And that's why I think whichever teams bond together this week, build that trust, it'll show out here today on the field. More so defensively, I think, than offensively. Just knowing your assignments, trusting your teammates, and then proving that you belong out here and being the best of the best.
And Bill, one thing for some of these guys, they're maybe not playing exactly the position that they've always played or the position that they might play in college, but showing versatility and showing just being a good football player is something these guys can do too.
And that's, like you said, Jay, these guys are good football players. They know what they're doing. And most of them are willing to play any position that you put them in. The 165-pound guys aren't going to be real excited about playing offensive tackle or something like that. But I guarantee you the tackles want to be split ends and everything like that. But everybody is very versatile. Most of these guys have played multiple positions in high school, both offensively and defensively. So wherever they end up, they're going to be fine with it. And it's one day, it's one chance, like Ryan said, to really prove that you belong. And what better way to do it by playing more than one position?
All right, we will meet the lineups and then kick off our 2015 Minnesota All-Star Game. It's coming up next here on 12 Sports. Welcome back, and let's meet our lineups here.
From Becker High School, defensive back, number 7, Dawson Brown. From Tachino Grace High School, wide receiver and defensive back, number 8, Ben Mazenga. From St. Francis High School, tight end, number 9, Blake Moreno. From Maple Grove High School, defensive back, number 10, Adam Brandt. From Dawson Boyd High School, wide receiver, number 11, Michael Lee. From New London Spicer High School, wide receiver, number 12, Shane Zylstra. From Parker Rapids High School, defensive lineman, number 13, Derek Porozinski. From Holly High School, tight end, number 14, Ben Ellefson. From Spring Lake Park High School, wide receiver, number 17, Joshua Bauer. From Cloquet High School, defensive lineman and the team's place kicker, number 18, Nick Mimi. From Crosby Ironton High School, defensive lineman, number 19, Daniel Hutterlick. From Totino Grace High School, running back, number 20, Kez Flomo. From Albany High School, defensive back, number 21, Nick Mergen. From Maple Grove High School, running back, number 22, Clark Winicky. From Pierce High School, defensive back, number 23, Robbie Skiba. From Holdingford High School, linebacker, number 24, Nathan Brinker. From Virginia High School, linebacker, number 25, Justice Chafee. From St. Francis High School, running back, number 26, John Santiago. From Sartell St. Stephen High School, defensive lineman, number 27, Nick Jensen. From Stillwater Area High School, linebacker, number 28, Zach Knox. From White Bear Lake High School, linebacker, number 42, Brendan Whalen. From Little Falls High School, linebacker, number 45, Bryce Zawatsky. From Moorhead High School, running back, number 46, Jade Lawrence. From Osseo High School, defensive lineman, number 51, Jake Shopper. From Massabi East High School, offensive lineman, number 52, Michael Green. From Iredale High School, defensive lineman, number 54, Ben Danielson. From Monticello High School, offensive lineman, number 55, Aaron Weisskopf. From Pellier Northome, offensive lineman, number 56, Adrian Pink. From Breck High School, offensive lineman, number 57, Karsten Salveson. From Esco High School, linebacker, number 59, Boston Wirtz. From Totino Grace High School, offensive lineman, number 60, Mitchell Webb. From St. Michael Albertville High School, defensive lineman, number 64, Randy Anderson. From Spring Lake Park High School, offensive lineman, number 68, Zach Johnson. From Proctor High School, offensive lineman, number 70, Brad Moorberg. From Montevideo High School, offensive lineman, number 75, Spencer Hildahl. From Sartell St. Stephen High School, offensive lineman, number 78, Anthony Thiem. From Detroit Lakes High School, defensive back, number 84, Ryan Seahawk. And from Irondale High School, defensive lineman, number 90, Isaac Ackerman. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for the North All-Star players. Now let's meet the North All-Star coaching staff. First, our Minnesota Vikings celebrity coach. 9 seasons in the National Football League as a running back, including 6 years with the Minnesota Vikings. Please welcome former Minnesota Viking Ricky Young. The North honorary coach is not with us today. He's from Cook County High School, member of the Minnesota Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame since 2003, Lyle Anderson. North assistant coaches from Little Falls, Jay DeCan. From St. Michael Albertville, Jared Essler. From Minnewaska area, Steve Hill. From Benson, 2012 Bush Nash Award winner Roger Lindahl. From Osseo High School, 2014 Bush Nash Award winner Jason Modine. And from Osseo High School and Augsburg College, the North All-Stars retired coach Jack Osberg. Introducing the North All-Stars head coach, he will be entering his 11th season as a head coach in the 2015 season, all at Osseo High School. He's been recognized as a Northwest Suburban Conference Coach of the Year 3 times. His Osseo Orioles have won 3 conference titles and have made 1 state tournament appearance. He has a career record of 64-36 in 10 seasons. Please welcome the North All-Stars head coach from Osseo High School, Darren Lamker. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 North All-Star players and coaches. And we'll ask the North team to step back to the far hash mark. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field.
And that is a look at the North All-Stars. Dave Giles doing the honors on the public address system. So an impressive group of athletes across the board here, and all positions pretty well manned here. Everybody, their one big goal, of course, will be trying to get everybody equal playing time. And the coaches talked a little bit about how that might be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, but, you know, it's a warm day, and they've got it pretty well figured out that everybody's going to get playing time, and they're going to try to keep it as equal as they can. And some of it's going to be determined by the course of the game and what happens, but they'll keep everybody active, I'm sure.
And let's not kid ourselves. Both of these head coaches very competitive. So it might start out everyone's equal playing time, but I know both of these guys want to end up winning this game.
And let's go back over to Dave Giles as he introduces the South All-Stars.
South All-Stars. We start with a defensive back from Cretin-Durham Hall, number 1, Max Jackson. From Mankato West High School, quarterback, number 2, Ryan Schlichty. From Northfield High School, defensive back, number 3, Joey Eckhoff. From Shasta High School, wide receiver, number 4, Justin Arnold. From Grand Meadow High School, running back number 5, Landon Jacobson. From Roseland High School, wide receiver number 6, Tyler Hardigan. From Rochester Mayo High School, defensive back number 7, Zach Robertson. From Burnsville High School, linebacker number 8, Brett Shepley. From Marshall High School, defensive back number 9, Brad Ballman. From Mankato East High School, wide receiver, number 10, Nick Seiler. From Egan High School, running back, number 11, Sam Zinner. From New Prague High School, defensive back, number 12, Ben Boothie. From Eaton Prairie High School, running back, number 13, Will Raines. From South St. Paul High School, wide receiver number 14, Trenton McLeod. From De La Salle High School, Minneapolis, quarterback number 15, Billy Hart. From Lakeville South High School, defensive back number 17, Brent Moser. From Mankato West High School, wide receiver number 18, Connor Watts. From Edina High School, place kicker number 21, Patrick Latour. From Hutchinson High School, wide receiver number 22, Robbie Grimsley. From Pine Island High School, defensive back number 24, Ben Farrell. From St. Paul Central High School, linebacker number 28, Garrett Gardner. From East Ridge High School, defensive end number 31, Kyle Kilgore. From Blue Earth Area High School, linebacker number 32, Jacob Johnson. From Maple Lake High School, defensive end number 33, Cal Redkempski. From Rosemont High School, defensive line number 34, Tramel Peterson. From Cedarville High School, running back number 35, Shane Curtis. From Minneapolis Washburn High School, linebacker number 45, Graham Miller. From Egan High School, linebacker number 49, Joe Kovac. From Rochester Mayo High School, linebacker number 52, Gunnar Grimsrud. From Blakeville Silver Lake High School, defensive lineman number 53, Christopher Lemke. From Llewellyn Cathedral High School, linebacker number 63, Brandon Baronet. From St. Croix Lutheran High School, offensive lineman number 66, Randy Gale. From Green Durham Hall High School, offensive lineman number 68, Jake Messina. From Fire Lake High School, offensive lineman number 69, Joey Shones. From Masika High School, offensive lineman number 70, Joel Miller. From Minneapolis High School, offensive lineman number 71, Jordan Tweet. From Chatfield High School, offensive lineman number 72, Ian Morrison. From Assembly High School, defensive lineman number 73, Jackson Ryan. From Northfield High School, offensive lineman number 75, Justin Raines. From Hutchinson High School, offensive lineman number 76, Sawyer Witt. From Eastview High School, offensive lineman number 77, Thomas Anderson. And from Lakeville North High School, defensive lineman number 90, Carl Engwall. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for the 2015 South All-Star Players. Now let's meet the South All-Star coaches, starting with our Minnesota Vikings celebrity coach. He played 11 seasons as a defensive back in the National Football League, 3 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings, and 6 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Please welcome our Minnesota Vikings celebrity coach with the South All-Stars, Tyrone Carter. The South assistant coaches being introduced alphabetically. From Burnsville High School, Jay Anderson. From Adelia High School, Terry Arduzer. From Hutchinson High School, 2014 NFC Assistant Coach of the Year and 2013 Butch Nash Award winner, Dan Brinkman. From Sealy High School, 2014 Class 5A Coach of the Year, Rex King. From Dawson Boyd High School, Corey Larson. From De La Salle High School, Sean McMenemy. The honorary coach for the South All-Stars is not able to be with us today. He's from Jackson and Gaylord, a member of the MFCA Hall of Fame since 2012, Tyrone Wacker. And now let's meet the South head coach. He has been the head coach at Lakeville North for 5 seasons with a career record of 46-11. His Panthers have won 2 South Suburban Conference championships and competed in 4 consecutive state tournaments and have made 1 Prep Bowl appearance. Please welcome the South head coach from Lakeville North High School, Brian Bosson. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome again.
And there's the lineups for the South All-Stars, and we will get set for football in just a moment. We'll be right back to Husky Stadium here at 12 Sports coverage of the Minnesota High School All-Star football game.
Why not on the go? Channel 12 is online at 12.tv. Watch on your phone, on your tablet. Channel 12 is your local source wherever you go. Just log on to 12.tv. Check out our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and even watch live events via live stream. So don't wait. Stay up to date with Channel 12 and 12.tv, your local source.
Beautiful afternoon here in St. Cloud for All-Star football. A little warm down on the turf, and I'm sure the guys will be a little bit glad maybe that there's more subbing going on than usual for them as they get back into football mode here. Joining us on the sideline this afternoon will be Allie Arlton. Let's go down now to Allie.
The South All-Star captains, coming from the South End zone are number 2, Ryan Schlicky from Mankato West.
Most of them moving on to play at the next level. Now, these guys spent the last 7 days at St. John's University where they got to know each other, practice together. Some of these guys meeting future teammates, some of them meeting future rivals. Should be a great one here today. I'll be on the sidelines updating you with interviews from the players and coaches. I've got my sunscreen. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much, Allie. And I've had that duty for many years at the All-Star game, too, so it's a lot of fun, actually, to get a chance to somebody's excited. They just scored a touchdown or made a big play. We're going to be able to hear from them during the game, and obviously we appreciate the coaches being willing to accommodate on that regard. They know it's an All-Star game, too, here as well. So it was interesting. She brought up rivalries, and I talked to a couple of the guys from our part of town. Yeah, Maple Grove, Osseo, and Totino Grace had some fierce rivalries these last couple of years. So you got 2 Maple Grove kids, 3 Grace, and 1 Osseo, and they admitted when they came together, it was a little bit like, hey, you know, I didn't like this guy. Now all of a sudden, but they got over it in a hurry and said, you know, we had a lot in common. We're just
different
guys who are going hard for it.
And I think it forms a really powerful bond this week because these are guys you know, and it's kind of interesting to see how they prepare and how they practice, and now you're on the same team, and it can come together, and all of a sudden you're playing for a guy that you despised for the last 2 or 3 years.
I'm glad you were willing to use that word, Ryan, because I was thinking in my head too, because they admitted they're big-time competitors, all those guys, and no question that you know, you bring them together like that. I also think it's a good, besides just the football part of it, I think it's really good for these guys to, in terms of getting ready for college, you go away from home, you're meeting a lot of new people, which you're going to be doing, and you're also kind of brought back to a time when you weren't necessarily king of the hill. You might be out there in a drill with somebody that's better than you, and you have to get used to that again, and that's what will happen for guys when they go into their freshman year.
Well, it's a sneak peek of what college life is, too. You're a little bit more freedom, you know, you got a little bit more time, you're kind of run wild, but you got to still have that game be the primary focus, right. The preparation, and you know, and you could probably talk to it a little bit further, but I think this is a great opportunity for these coaches that compete against each other all year to come together, share ideas, and then you wonder if there's a little gamesmanship. Are they not sharing too much of what they're doing, you know? And it's just a wonderful event, and it's fun to see everyone, you know, competing against each other all year long, come together for a team, and they make no bones about it. Everyone wants to win.
Yeah, and from a coach's point of view, yeah, you're coaching with guys that you know. Some guys you don't know, but you only know them by reputation. Yep. You know, like Darren might not know the guy from Benson very well, but everybody works together, and coaches are coaches. It really doesn't matter where you're from. But I have a feeling, too, that the Maple Grove players trying to get used to working with Darren and Jack and Jason, that might have been a little bit of a come to order there, but the self-discipline that these kids have and that they have to work through this game is a real challenge.
Well, and to Jay's point too, it's really the first time a lot of these kids are going to be playing maybe not as big of a role as they're used to, and it's a great introductory for what that next level is going to be like. I think the experience and the learning lessons that you take from this week can only help you prepare for that next level.
Absolutely, and they're going to be starting, a lot of the college programs are going to be starting right away.
Yep.
Ben Danielson from Irondale will be kicking it off here for the North Stars. They really did not have a pure kicker picked for their team, whereas the South does. Patrick LaCour from Edina, so we'll see if that becomes anything of an advantage here as Danielson getting set to kick off. Again, it's the North in white, the maroon-clad South All-Stars receiving the kick, and it's a short kick taken at the 35 and just falling forward for a yard or so on the return there. A guy who didn't expect to get the ball, I'm sure, there, Gunnar Grimsrud, linebacker out of Rochester, Mayo.
Well, and I always think, too, in these situations, you're going to see a lot of vanilla offense because you don't have the whole year of preparing for it. But then there's also going to sprinkle in a lot of trick play. So as a defense, you always got to be on your heels, watching for reverses, screen passes, double passes, that type of thing.
Billy Hart out of De La Salle will be the quarterback to start the contest here, and he hands off to Will Raines from Eden Prairie. Raines stacked up after a gain of maybe 1 by the North All-Stars. Raines, of course, had a spectacular senior season, as did most of these guys, but leading Eden Prairie to another championship.
Well, I'm talking to Jared Essler, who's the defensive coordinator for the North team. They said the key is hitting him early and hitting him low. If you wrap he's got very powerful legs. Wrap his legs up so he can't keep that body moving.
Hart is going to run it here on the sweep out over the 45 before he's knocked out of bounds. He'll be very close to and may have, it looks like, a first down for the South All-Stars. Look like they caught the North a little bit outflanked here on the edge.
Yeah, nice block. Will Raines leading the charge there.
And it is indeed a first down, as Hart will pick up 9 on the play for the South. Both teams, you're a little bit limited in what you can do. You have to declare a front before the game for the defense, and only 4 offensive formations can be used in kind of in deference to the all-star game situation. Here's pass, Ryan Schlichte in there completing this toss, and another first down into North territory. He's able to hook up there with Trenton McLeod, a wide receiver out of South St. Paul, for a nice pickup.
Yeah, Schlichte's got a great arm, and look at him stand in the pocket here, knowing pressure's coming from his blind side. And interesting, too, Brian Vossen subbing quarterbacks within a series. A lot of times you'll see a quarterback get a whole possession, and this time they're switching out between Hart and Schlichte.
Schlichte, empty backfield here, 5 receivers set from the 35-yard line of the North. Getting pretty good time as he goes down the right sideline, just out of bounds on the catch. Trying to drag the feet was Connor Watts out of Mankato West. He had him open there, but just couldn't quite keep the ball on the field.
It was a nice focus on the ball by Watts. It really tiptoed the sideline. Was out of bounds, but what a great effort on the catch. A nice ball by Schlichte.
Well, if you're from Mankato, you saw those two connect quite a bit throughout the year. And interesting, too, when Schlichte's in the game, they're going 5 wide receivers, which is what they did throughout the high school season as well.
Completes the little swing pass out here to Robbie Grimsley out of Hutchinson, and it's a nice pickup for the South All-Stars. Not quite enough for a first down, but looks like about a 9-yard gainer.
But I like Brian Vossen. He's adjusting his game plan to what his strengths are. So you got Schlichte, who's used to 5 wide, spreading the ball around, makes quick decisions, and they're adjusting their offense to fit that. I like that strategy.
3rd and 1. Schlichte, plenty of time down the middle, but he overshoots his intended target. Sam Zenner out of Egan definitely had him, although that seam route isn't, I think a little tougher throw than it probably looks.
It is. It's a challenging throw because you have to get the ball over the linebacker, and it's got to be in front of the deep back, and Zenner just couldn't quite get it. It was a little too high.
And that's right, too. I think, the timing, you're used to throwing to your guys where you've had a whole year of expecting where they're going to be. It's different now when you're playing with different guys.
4th and 1, and they go over the handoff, but it's fumbled, and it will be the North All-Stars getting the recovery there. Would have had the first down, or did have it, but recovery by Zach Knox out of Stillwater after it was coughed up here by Landon Jacobson. So he had the first down, punched on out of there. Looked like Daniel Hutterlick out of Crosby Ironton got his arm in on the ball, and the recovery made.
Well, great effort by Landon just to avoid getting tackled in the backfield. He led his Grand Meadow to another state championship this year. Very sure-handed. Just got a little careless with that ball. Excellent play by the defense, and you got to be opportunistic in these games.
Absolutely.
You're going to give yards, you're going to give big plays, but if you can create turnovers, that can be a big factor in who wins this game.
James Hendricks out of Bemidji handing it off here to Gunnar Bloom from Rogers, and he will pick up a first down. Nice open field tackle by Maxwell Jackson from Cretin, but a nice sweep run here by the North.
Yeah, this is a really nicely executed play as we see Gunnar Bloom getting into the open, but he got some nice downfield blocking from his receivers, Bauer, and don't know who the other receiver was on that side, but he got some good downfield help to get him 10, 11 yards.
From the 38, Kez Flomo out of Ticino Grace. Took a hard hit there from Gunnar Grimsrud, but picks up a couple on the play. We got a chance to see an awful lot of him over the last couple of years.
And he's a very durable back. He's good size. He's not tall, but he's very compact, very, very powerful legs. and he gets better as the game goes on.
And this will be his home field starting in
Yeah.
the fall.
I always wonder, it almost looks like he's got oil on his jersey because he's so slippery. No one seems to wrap him up on that first hit, and he is compact, like you guys mentioned. He squats over 450 pounds, so he's extremely powerful.
Here's a little reverse. Bloom taking the pitch, shakes off a tackle out near the 45-yard line. We all know Darren Lamka pretty well, and let's just say it won't be a surprise if we see a trick play or 2 or 10 in this game from the North All-Stars. Pretty well read here, but Bloom made something out of it by breaking that tackle.
Yeah, Carl Ingwell, the defensive end, nice job of dragging that play out to the sideline. Just no area for Bloom, who's so fast. He can just have explosive play after explosive play, so nice job by Ingwell.
3rd and 4 from the 44 now, as Hendricks looks like might be changing the play here.
Yeah, Darren said he was going to have a number of check-with-me type plays. This is obviously one.
Hendricks looking out to the left and a little bit behind, and Shane Zylstra not quite able to haul that one in. So the first pass of the game for the North goes incomplete, and will bring up a 4th down.
Yeah, and just a simple 5-yard out play, and then that comes into play where just the timing, the quarterbacks and the receivers not knowing exactly where they're going to turn, and everyone's different, and that's always the toughest part offensively in these games is just getting that timing down.
Looks like they will be punting. Michael Veldman out of Becker, the other quarterback, is also the punter. And here again, a little bit limited, no faking of punts here and no rushing the punter either. Veldman gets away, a long spiral. Will it reach the end zone? It does. My goodness, there might have been a little bit of wind helping him there, I think, but it's about a 55-yard punt. So any worries that they didn't have a specific kicker, at least on the punt game, look like they are not a worry at all.
Boy, he nailed that sucker, didn't he?
Forget playing in college. I think he's got a chance to step in with the Vikings this fall as a punter. That was a heck of a boom. Although it does help when you have no one coming at you as hard as possible.
There you
either.
go. There you go.
Hart will be the quarterback, 1st and 10 from the 20. The South had a good drive the first time, but ended up fumbling at the end. Hart fakes the handoff and will take it himself, but not able to get to the outside, wrapped up by Nick Nemi out of Cloquet, and he would not let go.
Here's the read option here, and not a lot of option for Billy Hart. He got wrapped up pretty good. Defensive end stayed at home, did not follow the running back down the line of scrimmage, and
that was a heck of an athletic play too. He had to come in and then readjust, and you know, I always say use the jersey as your friend. If you can get a handful of jersey, even if you don't make the play, you slow them down. So nice play.
Ball was fumbled. It looked like initially the South had it, but I'm not so sure they ended up with it when all was said and done. The North is going to have another fumble recovery, and this time in scoring territory. Is getting on it for the North is Nathan Brinker out of holding for. You see the snap was dropped, and then the back tries to pick it up. He has it, then he doesn't have it, and there you see Brinker, 24, getting in and ripping it out. It was kind of stuck between the legs there of the running back. So 2 turnovers in a row. This one could potentially be a lot more costly.
Well, and it always surprises me too in these games to go shotgun like that, because that just creates the chance and opportunity for turnovers. And if you're a center that's not used to doing that, that could be a new experience for you. And there was a low snap, and the South doing North, doing a nice job of creating turnovers.
Michael Veldman, the quarterback now, who had that great punt a moment ago, and his handoff going here to Clark Winicky out of Maple Grove. Met up hard there and stopped by Kyle Kilgore from Eastridge. Winicky, obviously, we had a chance to see an awful lot of him over these last couple of years. He had a brother, Jake, who played in this game, too.
Yep. Had a heck of a game in this game, too. I think he had 8 receptions, a couple of touchdowns.
2nd and 9, a 1-yard pickup for the North All-Stars. And Veldman firing, completes it on the slant and down inside to about the 5-yard line. It'll be the nice gainer for the North All-Stars as he's able to hook up on the outside there with Michael Lee.
Michael Lee, I always called him the Randy Moss of high school football. He's 6'6", excellent athlete. Did you see the lane that opened up there for for Veldman. I mean, just no one in his way. Nice defensive end was a little bit wide. Michael Lee is very dangerous down in the red zone because he's so tall and he has great leaping ability.
First and goal now from the 5 as the North tries to get on the board first. Handoff right side, and not much doing there as Jade Lawrence was looking for an opening back out of Moorhead, and maybe got a little bit of penetration, but not a whole lot. You see, he was a little hesitant there on where he wanted to go, ran into one of his own guys, Winicky. At that point, Winicky's just trying to get out of the way, and it will be a short pickup.
Yeah, Winicky was the lead blocker and missed the guy, and the offensive lineman picked the guy that Winicky was supposed to miss. Usually you teach the guys, if you miss somebody, keep going. Hopefully somebody behind you will pick them up.
And we are going to have a timeout taken here as we'll have a second down and goal to go from the 4. Let's go down to the sidelines now with Allie.
All right, thanks, guys. I've got Zach Knox from Stillwater here. He had that first fumble recovery on the South's first drive there. You played running back all season. You also really lead your school in a lot of different titles. You are the all-time rushing leader at Stillwater High School with over 3,000 yards. Playing linebacker today, what's that switch up like for you?
I mean, I played a little bit of linebacker this senior year. I mean, I've always loved the position. I played it growing up. So, I mean, I have some experience and I know kind of what's going on. Otherwise, I just kind of do what my natural instincts. So.
Zach is walking on to play at MSU Mankato this season. What was it like this last week getting to play your last high school all-star football game?
I gotta say it's been great getting to know the guys. At first coming in, I was kind of like, oh, this might be long, but towards the end of the week, I'm kind of sad to be going because I really love these guys because we all have the same passion for football.
All right, thanks, Zach. Go watch your team score a touchdown. All right, back to you guys.
Thanks very much, and thanks, Zach. Congratulations on the recovery, and we'll keep an eye on him all day here.
And Allie calling the touchdown right here.
Yeah, I guess so.
She's
Got confidence in that North. Here's Winicky taking the handoff and stopped at the 1-yard line. They got a good initial push, but the defender's able to kind of get a stalemate on Winicky. He had a good head of steam. He wasn't knocked backward, but he didn't go forward either. They kind of met up here.
He makes a nice left turn there. Looks like he's going to slide right in the end zone, but it closes down really quickly.
You think Coach Lamaker's saying, how come you never did that when you played against us? You always found the end zone in these situations. But I'll tell you the key, you guys, and you know this too, is if you grab a running back's feet, they can't move them.
Yeah.
And even if you can't bring them down, you'll hold them. Let your teammates come and clean them up. So an excellent team effort there in gang tackle.
Yeah, that's right. We had one guy going high, meeting him shoulder to shoulder, and another guy down on the legs, able to dig him up. And you see, we said it is an all-star game, but Darren Lamker right there getting a little bit hot, the fact that there was something that wasn't right there. They wanted to come up and run that play quick, and somebody wasn't ready, and kind of lost their advantage on the defense by having to take this time out here, although they're still in a pretty good spot here. 3rd and goal to go from just inside the 2-yard line. The North trying to get on the scoreboard first here.
And this is where you're telling your guys, watch out for a trick play, any type of reverse. And this is also where, you have a really tall guy like Michael Lee, 6'6" on the outside. They would throw fades to him up at Dawson Boyd, and he's almost undefendable, so that could be an option here as well.
Yeah. And this is where your offensive linemen really have to be, they've got to be geeked up to, say, we got to just make 1-yard push, and we got to get these guys back. And if they can do that, then it doesn't matter what play is called.
They go to Flomo right side, and he is chopped down. Nice effort by Jacob Johnson there out of Blue Earth area as he knifed in and took his legs out.
Yeah, look at him come from the weak side here. It's just nice foot penetration. He beat his offensive lineman there. And out of Blue Earth, Jacob Johnson not letting him get into Red Earth there. No touchdown on that play. 4th down, and of course Coach Lamaker saying, let's roll the dice, let's go for it.
4th and goal from the 2. Hendricks is the quarterback here now for the North All-Stars. We've just passed the halfway point here of this first quarter. Fakes the handoff. Hendricks is going to run for it, and he did not get there. Stop for the South by Jackson Ryan out of Simley. A nice tackle. Hendricks, we were told he's a really good runner, but he doesn't get there.
You can see that the read option there. No one went for it. Excellent
penetration.
Yeah. And that's the key. If you can get a D-back coming in on the edge like that, forcing it back to the middle, and trust your help. That's where trusting your teammates. Excellent defensive stance. The South has withstood 2 early turnovers to keep this 0-0.
Yeah, I was going to say the 2 fumbles have yielded only field position for the North. The North is in excellent defensive field position right now. This is where defensively I always like to take a chance and see if you can do something to get a safety or something.
Keep in mind, no blitzing allowed, though, here in the All-Star game. It kind of limits that aspect just a little bit. Dropping into the end zone. Oh, no blitz needed. Sacked and a safety. Outstanding rush from the outside as Derek Porozinski out of Park Rapids gets there and drops Schlichty. He didn't really see him coming here. Fortunate not to fumble it there as Porozinski gets the North on the board.
Yeah, and that's just as a quarterback, you got to have that clock, that internal clock, especially when you're in your own end zone. You got to think 1, 2, even if no one's open, you got to get rid of the ball.
Yep,
you can't sacrifice taking a safety, but what a move on the outside.
But yeah, and Porozinski really, he's the guy that pressured him earlier.
Just
in
missed
the
him
first
earlier,
read, and so that, he knew he had a chance to get there. All he had to do was just be one step quicker, and he was.
Well, how about this defense by the North team? 2 turnovers and a safety already. Really off to a good start. And I can tell you, Jared Essler, the defensive coordinator, a good friend of mine from Albertville, is fired up for his defensive side of the football.
That's what a lot of times in an all-star game you come into it and you know about the quarterbacks, you know about the running backs, but there are equally good players on the other side, and to a certain extent, they have some advantages in this, I think, too, because the offenses haven't worked a lot together.
Exactly.
Well, it's just like early on in the season. Usually the defense is ahead of offenses. It takes timing, it takes trust, it takes getting your rhythm down, and that's why you see a lot of trickery in these type of games because they can fool a defense.
Well, in the defense, you're playing as much instinctly as anything else. And the schemes, and because you can't use a lot of schemes or anything like that, it's just, hey, line up and go play football. Find the football, take it down.
LaCour will take the free kick here for the South All-Stars. He is a kicker by trade out of Edina, but will be kicking into the wind here. Lofts a high one and going to be grabbed at the 33-yard line by Daniel Hutterlich. And Hutterlich doesn't go too far there as Jacob Johnson meets him up.
He's a defensive end. You could tell he wanted that ball. He retreated to get that, wanted to try to make a play, and it did not turn out too well.
Generally, when you're running back a kick or a punt and you have to come to a stop to make a cut, you got athletes that are going to get there in that case. But still good field position. You can't argue that at the 35 for the North All-Stars.
Well, good field position, but, the coaching staff will remind Daniel that's why he's a defensive end and not a running back.
Well, and really the South defense has done nothing but short of miraculous so far. That big goal line stand, and
sure.
So let's see if the North All-Star team offensively can get a play.
Hendricks throwing off his back foot and able to connect with Ben Ellefson there out of Hawley. Able to make the catch, and the rush was about to arrive, but Hendricks staying in there and getting it out of just as he was about to be hit.
Well, that's a tough throw, too. He was off his back foot with a guy running at your feet, able to still get some good velocity on that ball. And Hendricks for Bemidji, they had a great team this year and a really potent offense, and he was a dual threat, great passer, and also a very good runner.
Short drop, fires, completes, and spun down just into South Territory. There is Joshua Bauer out of Spring Lake Park High School. So not a huge game, but a nice one of about 5.
The other thing I like, too, is early on you get your quarterbacks these short rhythm passes. Let them get a couple of completions. Similar to basketball, people come out and start shooting threes right off the bat. Get a layup, get something going, get your rhythm going. I think it just boosts for confidence for both these receivers and quarterbacks.
And on a play like that, you never know. You could break that tackle, and all of a sudden 5 becomes 15 or 22. Hendricks, pretty good time, although it ends late, long, throwing it up for grabs, incomplete. And not going to be interference there. Brooks Carroll is with the intended target. Let's go down to Allie.
Thanks, guys. Like that, Derek Porozinski from Park Rapids. You made that play in the end zone, put some points on the board for your team. Walk us through that play.
Well, I was just trying to beat the left tackle. Yeah, he's a bigger boy than me, so I had to loop all the way around, and I got blind side of the quarterback.
Wide receiver and defensive end, you played in high school. Going on to play at Northern State University, what do you look forward to most going on to the next level?
Just playing with some different people, meeting new people, and having a different atmosphere.
Congrats on a great high school career.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
He's thinking of getting back to Zorba's up in Park Rapids before this beautiful day is over.
Third down and 5 now for the North. Hendricks firing complete on the sideline. First down to Lee. And that's a great play to when you need, a short to medium yardage for the first down. They're able to get it to Lee.
Guy with a big body. We've mentioned a couple of times that Lee's 6 feet 6 inches tall. He's got a good rangy body and he does when he blocks out the D-back, he takes him out.
Hand off and trying to cut it back to the weak side, and nothing doing there as Jade Lawrence looking to, he kind of ended up into the teeth of the defense there. It looked like he saw some room backside, but
it looked like he had an alley straight there, and then he panned it out further to the left, and this South defense just doing a nice job of filling the gaps, just nowhere to go running the football.
Second and 10 now for the North as we approach 4 minutes to go in this opening quarter. They are 12-minute quarters, just like high school games. So a few different rules that we'll touch on. Ooh, tipped away there by Tremail Peterson as he nearly had a chance for an interception.
Yeah, and lucky that he got his hands on that because that play was set up beautifully. There was a lot of space coming back that way if they were able to get that one over, but a nice job tipping that play, breaking it up.
It was outstanding defensive reaction there to get his hand up, because if that ball was completed, there was a lot of green out there to the offensive left.
Those are the kind of, when you're the play caller, you're just like, oh, we had it.
Yeah,
we had the right play, and that's why these All-Star games are fun, because you got guys that are instinctively smart that you saw Peters just adjust to that, make a heck of an athletic play.
Third and 10, a flag does fly this time as they tried to go to Brooks Carroll out of Stillwater, and there was a little bit of contact. This might be either a hold or defense. Actually, an eligible receiver downfield, so it was not in relation to the ball thrown into the secondary there, and instead we had a lineman downfield.
I think one of the inside receiver was covered.
Would bet they would decline this.
Yeah, you would sure think so. Yeah, it'll bring up a 4th and 10 here.
Well, here's the interesting too, with maybe not a natural punter, with the potential of only gaining 20 yards if you kick it in the end zone. Do you take a shot and try to keep the drive going, or?
I suspect they will. Yeah. I mean, it's really a situation where you want to take some gambles and you're not too worried. The life's not going to end if you don't win the All-Star game. So.
And Darren's been known to take a gamble or two in his career.
Not always successful either. I remember John Jacobson coming back from a game past year, telling me, wow, Lamker took a couple of big gambles and neither one of them worked. Here's an opportunity, and Hendricks has the pass batted down. Getting up was Brett Shepley out of Burnsville to knock that one down. And so the South All-Stars will hold on downs here as the beginnings of a promising drive ended with 4 straight either incompletions or no gains for the North All-Stars, so South will take over. As Ryan said, they really have played quite well defensively here.
Haven't really we've had a couple of short passes, but other than that, they've just, been firm on defense, the goal line stand, and now let's just see if their offense can get rolling here.
Schlichte is the quarterback working out of the gun, throwing it out into the flat as he connects there with Robbie Grimsley. And Grimsley wrestled down after crossing the 45-yard line.
And Grimsley had a heck of a career at Hutchinson. He was one of the leading running backs in the entire state, playing a little bit different position in this offense as a receiver, but once he gets his hands on the football, he's a running explosive back.
He's one of those guys that can really score a touchdown every time he touches the ball. He's that electric.
Handoff this time, and cut down after a short pickup was Landon Jacobson. That's one of the guys that coaches really mentioned as standing out, from a very small school. But Coach Vossen, the South head coach from Lakeville North, said, if he was playing in our conference, he would have been one of the best players. Yeah.
He's just a great football player. I had the good luck to call his state championship game in the 9-man, and he was a man amongst boys. Every time he touched the ball, I think he averaged almost 9 yards a carry for the season.
Little swing pass there, and looks like it'll be short of the first down. Justin Arnold on the catch.
Well, Coach, you just made a great point to me. I mean, if he would have turned that inside, he had a lot of room. He tried to get to the out. Look at that lane. He could have cut back and made a big play out of it.
Yeah, 42 would have tackled him, but that tackle, Whalen would have tackled him, but probably for a first down.
Fourth down play, and the South gets stuffed. No chance. Not close. As soon as he took the handoff, you could see that even though it's a good back like Rains, he had 4 guys to try and beat, and it just wasn't going to happen. Great penetration. Even though he didn't make the tackle there, Jake Shopper out of Osseo got a piece of him early.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the key with Will Rains. You hit him low like that, get those legs, stop him from moving, and then he had teammates come and clean it up. Excellent penetration. And it goes back to the previous play, Coach. If he cuts inside, gets an extra yard or two, it's a first down. And
exactly.
Little things like that. And that's one thing in the All-Star game. People try to make home runs every play rather than, hey, maybe just get the first down, even though it's not anything electrifying. It would have moved the chains. Instead, another turnover on downs. Excellent defense by the North.
So the North All-Stars with Veldman at quarterback just in the South Territory at the 49. Handoff goes to Flomo, and a short pickup there. So he'll stretch it out for maybe 2 on that play for the North.
Yeah, I think the running backs are looking for their seams, but the running game has got to go north and south, and both defenses have done a good job of turning the hips of the running backs to parallel to the line of scrimmage, which really forces them to no gains or very short gains. And if you can see the running backs going north and south, the running game will improve.
Veldman's pass through the hands of Bauer there. He was about to be hit, and I think he kind of looked away quickly, and that one almost ended up being an interception off the deflection here.
Yeah, great throw right in the hands. That's a play you got to make. And to get back to your guys' point, being able to run the football, even though it may not be, as exciting to watch, in these kind of games, if you can do that effectively, it's going to open up the big plays, the reverses, the deep ball. So both teams got to get back to bread and butter, running the football, getting positive yards on first down.
3rd down and 8 now for the North All-Stars. 2-0. That is not a typo. It's a safety is the only scoring of the game, and now he's in trouble and down. Sack there for the South by Graham Miller out of Minneapolis, Washburn. And he was able to get through Winnecke's block there, get around the edge of it, and just running out of time was Veldman.
And again, both defenses playing very, very well. Just no time for Veldman to get his feet set and look downfield.
No, he had no chance. It was such good penetration by the outside guy.
Veldman is the punter again for the North All-Stars, and again, no rush allowed. Gets away another good kick, although this one might be returnable and will be, it looks like. Connor Watts on the return slips a little bit as he crosses the 25, so the South will have it at about the 26-yard line. Just under a minute to play here in the opening quarter, and pretty much of a defensive quarter for the most part, with the only scoring coming on that safety for the North.
Well, here we see Connor Watts getting a nice grab of the ball, getting upfield, and then just as he gets to make a move, his feet slip, and he stopped at the 26.
So Hart will be the quarterback here for the South to begin this drive. Looking, not much happening early. Hart looks like he's going to throw on the run now, and he's able to find his receiver. Good improvising there as Shane Curtis, the running back out of Stewartville, reaching back and handling that one over the middle.
Well, Hart did a nice job. Look at him elude the pressure, and this is not an easy throw. Running to your left, coming back across your body, got enough velocity and accuracy on it too. That's really the biggest play we've seen so far this afternoon.
A 19-yard pickup there for the South. Half minute to go now. Handing it off on the reverse. It's Sam Zenner trying to get to the edge. Took past the first guy and was able to lower the boom a little bit on Darius Mock, the D-back there who was just shedding a block at the time. So out to the 50, they'll give him a gain of about 5 on the play.
Nice run by Sam Zenner. Zenner had a great career at Egan. He was one of the again another one of the top running backs in the state last season.
Well, and I like that play too. It wasn't anything big, but it was a nice 5-6 yard gain on first down.
Schlichte back in there, throws and complete. They had all kinds of room. Nicely designed play. Tyler Hardigan out of Rosemount on the catch. They had somebody short to really draw the defense's attention, and Hardigan had all kinds of room to work with out there on the left.
Yeah, what a pretty ball too.
Well, you see the corner was drawn up by the short receiver, and that really made the outside alley open up, and that's tough for a safety to roll over and cover that because you got a guy in the seam too.
This time he will go short with it, but through the hands of Hardigan as he tried to come right back to him here. So there will be time for one more play in the quarter. 2 seconds left as that ball hits the turf.
I think the South, their best chance of getting going offensively is doing what they're doing. Let Schlichte make decisions, get 5 wide, and spread the field out. He did that all year long. He's so potent offensively. I think they just need to air it out, let him make great decisions, and he's proven that he can do that.
Nice march going here for the South. They trail at 2-0, but trying to change that here. Should be the last play of the quarter. Couple seconds left as Schlichte has time, but now will step up, and a very short gain there, maybe back to the line or so is about it, as Derek Borozinski makes the stop here for the North All-Stars. So we've reached the end of one quarter here. Our score at St. Cloud State, the North All-Stars 2, the South 0. We'll be back with more coverage of Minnesota All-Star football on 12 Sports.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Behind the wheel, there is no such thing as a small distraction. A public service reminder from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. Speak out against distracted driving at decidetodrive.org.
And welcome back here to Husky Stadium at St. Cloud State University. It's the Minnesota Football Coaches Association Tackle Cancer All-Star Game. Along with Ryan Iverson and Bill Hunstock, I'm Jay Wilcox. Allie Arlt with us on the sidelines as well. The South team is in maroon, and they have a 3rd down 11 coming up here. They trail at 2-0 as the quarter starts. Here's Billy Hart on the keeper, and he'll get some, but not nearly enough for the first down as Bryce Zawatsky out of Little Falls able to make the stop on Hart. That almost looked like a planned running play from the start there.
I think it was. I mean, Hart's a pretty versatile quarterback. He can run and throw the ball fairly well. And we're going to be 4th and long here, so going to be some level of a kick.
Yeah,
looks like they're going to kick a field goal.
And I'd say normally they won, but with the points at a premium right now, 2-0.
Right.
You'll take 3 points with the way both defenses are playing.
And it'll look like it's could be 3-2 in the bottom of 4th.
Patrick LaCour is the kicker, and I suppose you're figuring, well, if you have a kicker here, you probably better use him in some of these situations anyway, although this is, and they are going to take a timeout to talk about, this would be about a 43-yarder, although he does have the wind with him. So
I don't wonder if they didn't plan that, trying to get 4 or 5 yards out of that instead of taking a shot and getting nothing. If you got a good kicker, which he is from Edina, you know, you get 4 or 5 yards, make it a little bit easier, put it on the right hash that the kicker likes.
Yeah, he's been a good kicker for the last 2 or 3 seasons with Edina.
Yeah, you don't often see a designated kicker make the roster, but he, you know, he was an all-Metro selection as a kicker, and they clearly feel this is in his range, especially with the wind behind him.
I guess to me, in a lot of ways, it does make sense to do that, and it's been very different throughout the years. Sometimes you'll see it, and sometimes not, where they pick some guy who is, you know, purely a kicker. A lot of times, a guy will play, you know, multiple positions. Though.
Well, and I think too, if this was 28-21 already, and on offensive show, you might see them go for it here. But I think with the way these defenses are dominating the football game, Coach Vossen saying, hey, we're in range. We got a kicker to do this. Let's take the 3 points.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. This is a good decision. You got to get points. Your offense hasn't put you down in scoring position at all. You got to get them when you can.
Yep.
Zenner the holder. This will be a 43-yard try for LaCour. And the kick is blocked.
It's returnable, too.
And they're going to try for a little return here. Dawson Brown out of Becker running it. So, having to drive that ball a long way, maybe didn't get it up in the air as quickly as you might often like. It comes from the edge here, I think. Yeah, somebody beating around the end.
And usually in an all-star game, you have somewhat limited rushing on punts and kicks, but usually you can get some pressure on place kicks. You can get some pressure from the outside. Nobody bumped that guy at all. You got to just bump him one step and he's gone.
Well, and I don't wonder too, I think back to when I played on our extra point team in the All-Star game. I had never done that throughout the year. So you're getting guys maybe that aren't used to playing special teams.
Sure.
And the timing's a little off and blocking assignments can be off. So again, unable to capitalize for the South All-Star team.
Hendricks at quarterback, turns and handing it off left side. Again, not a whole lot happening for them in the run game there, as handoff that time went to Santiago.
I think when you've got the kind of running backs that both of these teams have, we mentioned it, but I think at some point you need to let your offensive line get off the line of scrimmage and run. And just say, come on, guys, just get out, hook up with somebody, move your feet, and let's see what happens. And that was a little bit more of what I think they're going to be doing with their running game, is pushing forward and getting going.
Play action this time. Hendricks in some trouble, eludes the first couple guys and then tried to shovel it forward there. And it will be an incomplete pass attempt for Hendricks, but
well, smart play, rather than take a 6-7 yard loss, able to avoid the pressure there, knowing that he's out of the pocket, can just get rid of it, live to fight another day. But it's going to set up a 3rd and long, and this South defense really hasn't given up anything.
Not at all.
Defensively.
And I think, if you throw the ball, you've got to get the quarterback a couple of seconds to set his feet and look. And the defense, Coach told us he was going to be using a 5-2, so he wanted to have the opportunity to pressure with 5 people every time. And so far, it's been a good call.
Football was not placed in exactly the right spot there, so that was the reason for the stop. The line judge realized it was a good yard off. So 3rd and 9 for the North All-Stars here in a defensively dominated game for the most part here. Hendricks throwing, and a good battle out there, and it'll be incomplete. Getting his hand in was Ben Farrell out of Pine Island, as he just stopped and mirrored Shane Zylstra here and did a good job of not interfering with him.
Was it Zylstra?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zylstra on the outside. And Zylstra's 6'4", and Farrell's 6 foot. That's a throw that's got to be high, where only your guy can catch it. And that's where a quarterback, you got to give your receiver a chance. That ball's got to be high into the outside, and give your 6'4" athletic receiver Shane Zylstra a chance to go get that. That ball was low and inside.
And that gives the defensive back. That's just like in basketball, bringing the rebound down to your waist. If you're 7 feet tall, you make yourself 5'8". Not a good help.
Feldman on to punt here for the North All-Stars. The 2 outside guys can go, so they get quite a ways down there, and it's going to be run back. Able to shake the tackle there was Grimsley, and I think there was some surprise that it wasn't fair caught, and so the tackler kind of came a little soft there, and Grimsley ran right through it.
Let's see if that's not a spark maybe that gets this team going offensively. Great spin move, and you can see how electric he is. I mean, his feet are moving, and he's looking to go north and south, Bill, to what you were talking about. I mean, he cut up, and he was trying to get some yards. Again, good field possession for the South.
Yeah, they've done a nice job here. Their offense has moved a little bit better the last couple possessions here.
Schlichte is the quarterback here for the South All-Stars as we get the ball set for play right at their 40-yard line. Schlichte straight drop and has time, but now cutting it to the outside, and he's going to go down about a 5 or 6 yard loss. kind of a coverage sack, but there to finish him off, Isaac Ackerman, and then also Nick Jensen out of Sartell.
Well, the defensive secondary, the linebackers in the secondary had every single guy covered. This was just desperation for Schlichty to try to find some place to get the ball, and he had no choice.
And really the first time he had time that time. There's a nice pocket, just no one open, and that's where, again, you just got to get rid of the ball, don't take the sack.
This time the pocket collapses in a hurry, and another big loss back to about the 25-yard line. They really just broke through in multiple spots there.
Well, you see the flank defenders really doing a good job of getting upfield and leaning into the tackles. And there was just enough penetration up the middle there at his feet, so he couldn't step up to throw. He had to just stand there and take his lick.
Yeah, Nick Johnson from Sartell, nice pressure on the outside. And that's where, as a quarterback, you got to step up, move outside. You got to feel that rush coming. We've seen Schlichty a couple times here today take a sack, take a safety from that outside pressure.
And a pass complete, but no gain, has popped immediately there. Ackerman able to lower the boom on Grimsley. That previous sack credited to Jake Schopper out of Osseo too, and Schopper had some pretty good pressure early on that one, and there you see Ackerman lining him up.
Yeah, that was one of those kind of jet type screens where you got the receiver coming back against the grain and lineman coming out, but
you know that, Bill. I mean, those plays only work when it's when you're not expecting, when it's 3rd and 20 and everyone's playing deep. That play's not going to be successful.
Exactly. I tend to prefer screens and draws on 1st and 2nd down when it looks like a passing situation rather than an obvious passing situation on 3rd. You might as well.
Well, for those that work, you got to have you're counting on the defense being over aggressive, and you're getting behind them on a 3rd and long. They're playing back, not letting anything get behind them. Easy tackle.
Absolutely.
Be our first accepted penalty of the game as procedure penalty here against the South, so they continue to go backward here. You're not expecting to see 4th and 31 very often, but LaCour will be the punter here, and 3 guys waiting deep for the North All-Stars. It's a knuckler down around the 40, and nice tackle there. That's kind of a kick coverer's dream. Robbie Grimsley getting there just at the right time, and Bauer trying to return it and had no chance. Grimsley beat the block, and he was right in position to nail him at the 40.
He's just a football player, isn't he? I mean, great when he's got the ball in his hands, and you can see just a knack for getting to the ball and a very nice tackle. And he's fast. There's no chance of anyone outrunning him when he's got a head of steam going. He's a complete football player.
So the North team will get the football back here, trying to get something going. They have sputtered for the most part offensively. A little, signs of life here and there, but here's the pass firing, and they look to Lee, and he is able to hold off the defender cutting across the front of him as Lee takes the pass from Veldman. Give him about an 8-yard gain. Let's go down to the sideline now with Allie.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with a guy whose name you've been saying quite a bit throughout the game so far, Mr. Minnesota, Mr. Football himself. This guy, listen to his record. He is a 2-time state champion, 3-time section champion, 4-time conference champion. Talk about your high school career as a whole.
Oh, it was an amazing high school career. I couldn't really ask for much more. I couldn't say it was on me, though. I had a great group of guys. Some of them are up there cheering me on right now, but it was an unbelievable career. I'm glad I played for Hutch.
What does it feel like to be here today, being named the best player in the state, representing in this All-Star game?
It's fun playing for the South. I couldn't be more excited. Some of the best guys here, good competition. Should be a good game.
Going to play football at North Dakota State?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Looking forward to it?
Thank you.
All right, have a good time. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much. And Allie meeting up with all the players on the sideline here, getting a chance to hear, just good stories from all across the state. That's what I like about this game too. We hear so much about the guys in the Twin Cities, obviously, and you get guys from all around the state have produced some good football players.
Well, what I think is interesting too is the future is bright for North Dakota State. They've been so dominant over the last few years, and you can see why. They're getting a lot of these, top tier Minnesota high school football players that maybe aren't quite big enough to go to the U, and they get overlooked at some of those Division I levels. And they go to North Dakota State and win national championship year in and year out.
You know, and you know too, Ryan, that playing college football doesn't matter where you play.
No.
It's playing and winning games feels just as good at Division III as it does in the Big Ten.
You're absolutely right.
3rd and 7 after the penalty. Veldman throwing it for Lee, but will be incomplete as he was covered out there by Joey Eckhoff out of Northfield. Stayed with him pretty well.
Yeah, Eckhoff got just enough hand on him to slow him down. You're right there at about the 45-yard line. Just got enough hand on him that Lee couldn't break completely free.
No, but if that ball's 5 yards shorter and to the outside, Lee's going to grab that 9 out of 10 times. It's like when Randy Moss broke into the league, and you never wanted to out-throw him. Give him a chance to make the play. And when you got a guy like Lee out there, you got to just give him a chance to make that play. But Eckhoff did a nice job, good positioning.
Veldman will punt here for the North, and that one's off the side of his foot. Not an especially good one, and it takes a bad bounce for the North, too. Actually, pretty good hands by Adam Brandt out of Maple Grove, or that one would have been even worse off as it almost bounced back over his head. Adam Brandt, a guy that had a great career for the Crimson in their defensive secondary. And, boy, talk about a program on the rise after Coach Matt Lombardi came over there from Wayzata. Wow. Yeah,
Matt's done a good job with that program and really gotten them back on the map, so to speak. And Adam Brandt, we watched them play 4 or 5 times last year, and he had an outstanding season in the secondary.
Well, he played that strong safety or free safety, and he was if he wasn't making the tackle, he was assisting on about 90% of their plays. But Coach Lombardi's built that program on playing defense, and he's got a couple of skilled players each year, and they're a great program.
Hart with the keeper here for the South All-Stars, and Adam Brandt turned down some scholarship offers because he wanted to go to St. Thomas, so he's going to play there for the Tommies. And kind of getting back to it, you said, the level, people get a little bit over-concerned about that. He knew what he wanted to do with his life and where he wanted to study, and he stuck with that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Billy Hart's shown some good footwork here when he's run the ball.
Looking to throw, shakes off a tackler. Hart now cutting it upfield, and he is near midfield. He won't quite have the first down, but he made something out of what looked like it might turn out to be a sack.
Well, that's a very physical play by Billy Hart. He wants to throw. He's running. He gets shaked there, he's shook in there, and he said, and all of a sudden he's got 4 yards. It's like, how did that happen?
Well, you make chicken salad out of chicken something there.
Yeah.
They had 4 guys miss tackles, made a big play.
Here's Raines rumbling up the middle. First real big run we've had for either team as Will Raines popping that one. A good hole opened up, and they easily pick up the first down after gaining 14 there for Raines.
What I like there is, you guys, he hit that hole hard. There was no dancing. There was no juking. He hit it, and if you watch Eden Prairie play, you were used to that, seeing him getting to the second and third levels of a defense pretty quick.
Here is Hart on the keeper. Ooh, a monstrous block thrown. Thomas Anderson out of Eastview decleated somebody right next to the ball carrier. Watch 77 in maroon right there.
Oh. That's a hello right there, isn't it?
And before anybody says otherwise, that's still a clean play. He's trying to tackle him right there.
Oh, that's a good hit.
Well, you're starting to see the South team here move the football, and they're doing it by getting back to the basics, running the ball between the tackles, hitting the holes hard, and there's a first down. And they got something going, and by being able to do that, you control the line of scrimmage. Now is when you can get some trick plays or maybe a big passing play out of it as well.
Schlichte in at quarterback. First down and 10 from the 27. About 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. South trailing 2-0, but a nice march going. Schlichte looking to throw a fade here and just batted away. Arriving to knock it down was Brandt. As he came over the top, they looked for Hart again.
Did you see Adam Brandt close that ground coming from the free safety? Watch him fly over here. And I thought that was going to be a touchdown. That's a ball that's got to be, again, a little bit further and onto the outside where only his guy can make that completion.
Yeah, but if Brandt's hand doesn't hit that ball, that's a touchdown.
He's just a ball hawk. I mean, he just read the quarterback. He covered about 25 yards in the air, able to get a hand on. Excellent football play.
2nd and 10. Schlichte to Raines out in the flat. It gets by the first guy and cut down At the 15, they will have enough for a first down.
Yeah, quick throw, easy throw, and Will Raines, really the only guy here today I've seen that's just catching it and going. Watch him turn it upfield and just heads north and south.
Yep.
Quick decisions. I think it's really sparking their offense.
And I think that's what we have to do in any football game, but especially in an all-star game. Just run to the goal line.
Schlichty looking now, deep over the middle, touchdown. Completion good there to Connor Watts with his celebration there out of Mankato West. So Schlichty hooking up with his old teammate, and we have our first touchdown of the game.
Well, Schlichty bought some time here. You see he rolled out a little bit, and it was just a crossing pattern, and his old teammate able to just outrun the defensive back. Nice throw, good velocity.
Yeah, that deep dig, especially if the safety on that side steps up.
Then you
that
got that
deep
whole
dig
seam
is right
opening.
there.
Yep.
That was well executed because Schlichty had to wait for that to clear and not get sacked.
Well, you know, they got some big plays in the passing game there, obviously the touchdown, but I thought it was set up because they were able to run the ball effectively on a couple of those plays.
Yeah, Hart and Raines both got very good runs.
So there you look at it, Schlichty waiting, and he gets Watts flashing free into the end zone. Got good time that time, which hasn't always been the case for either any of the four quarterbacks really in the game today. And after getting that touchdown, Connor Watts now gets a chance to talk to Allie.
Thanks, guys. With Comcast from Mankato West, which is the high school I actually went to, you just received a touchdown from your high school quarterback. What's that connection like, getting to come here to an all-star game and be here with your quarterback?
Oh, man, it's a blast playing with Ryan just because we've been together for so many years, and it's just a great experience to be with him.
What has this week been like, preparing for this all-star game, meeting all these new guys, and being up at St. John's for a week?
Oh, man, it's been the best experience a guy could ask for. Meeting a bunch of coaches. It's a blast.
Connor, you won a state championship this year. Would you call that the highlight, or would you call getting to play here with your buddies at the All-Star game the highlight?
I mean, it's a close tie, but these guys just make it so much fun, and yeah, I guess it's a tie.
We'll take that. Congrats on putting the first point on the board for the South. Thanks, Connor. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Allie, and thanks, Connor. And this kick can be returned out of the end zone. That's one difference from regular high school in this all-star game. And Kez Flomo says, yep, I'm going to try it, but he does not get it back to the 20. We had about the 17-yard line. 2:47 to go in the first half. And the South now leading the North by a 7-2 score. South has won 3 in a row after North won the first one when they went back to North versus South. For a long time it was Metro outstate. And the whole series, South leads 11-9-1, but since we've gone back to it, they've now won 3 in a row. They've been kind of taking this over a little bit, and they're trying to do so again here in 2015.
Well, I think that North has to be careful here, guys, because South figured something out offensively. You don't want to go 3 and out and give the ball back to Schlichty for the last 2 minutes and find yourself down 14 to 2. So I think this is a big offensive series here for the North.
Flomo is stopped by Jacob Johnson out of Blue Earth there, and he lost about 4 on that play. So not the kind of start, to Ryan's point, that you wanted.
And that, that odd front, the 5-man front is giving a little bit of problem to the North offense. I think when you've got a good, quick, strong guy on the center, that really challenges your whole offensive line.
Hendricks, play action, he's in trouble, and down he goes. Wow, nearly back to the end zone as Graham Miller arrives in a hurry there, the backer out of Washburn.
Well, that play was a designed rollout to the left, and the Graham Miller was coming hard, nowhere to go. And Graham Miller has made a couple of nice plays here defensively for the South. And here you are, third down and 24, and a minute 44 left to go. You got to get a big play here, otherwise that offense for the South, who just is hitting on all cylinders after that last drive.
Yeah, they really have a tough row right here. They've got to get the ball out far enough, even with no pressure on the punters. Kicking from your own end zone is no treat.
Only one timeout remaining for the South. Otherwise, we might have possibly seen him take one in that spot here before this 3rd and long play. And this might be a delay of game, I think.
Yep.
On the North. Yep, it is.
Well, and I think they were trying to run as much time off as possible, and they're only going to lose a yard on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they run the football here on 3rd down, force the South team to maybe take that last time out.
More bad things can happen than good, I think, if you really gamble throwing the ball from your end zone here, even as much as you might like to be a rolling the dice kind of guy here, but we'll see.
Yeah, you don't want to turn the ball over. That's the number one thing.
I think, though, you got a guy like Michael Lee on your team. I think you take a shot down the field, maybe get a pass interference, maybe you get a big play. And the way they're running the football, why not go for it and try to make something happen?
Well, and when you were talking about Lee earlier, give him a chance. I think the other thing is, even if the ball's not thrown that well, nobody is going to go up and above him and get it and take it with a clean interception. You're probably at least going to get him able to break it up.
And Lee's not even on the field for this play.
No.
1:18 remaining here before halftime. The North All-Stars going backward in a hurry on this drive and facing a 3rd and 24 from about their 2.5-yard line here. This might be where Hendricks would say, maybe you want to come in, Veldman, here? No, he goes with the handoff instead. And a little real estate to work with this time. Look out, John Santiago up the sideline. Not only sounds like or looks like a conservative call, but they'll get the first down.
Well, this is well executed. Look at the hole he gets. A guard pulls up. Santiago sees the seam, a nice downfield block, breaks the tackle, and gets all the way out to the 35-yard line.
Well, a couple of great cutbacks. I think they were content with just running it, forcing the South to use the timeout. Instead, they get a big play. Minute 10 with the timeout. Now there's hope here going into halftime for the North.
Santiago giving the North a shot in the arm, and Hendricks, though, in trouble again. Down he goes. Kyle Kilgore gets there. The Eastridge product able to drop him in his tracks. These guys, I mean, obviously they've got some quickness and stuff, but their tackling, when chasing quarterbacks has been good.
And it was just a simple move. He faked outside and came inside, used his speed, and you got to give your quarterback a chance to make a play.
Yeah, that was, the offensive line the offensive linemen have to work together. Again, that's the hardest part about an all-star game, is getting your offensive linemen, your offense in general, to work together.
Under a half minute to go. They will go back to the ground here, and Santiago getting another carry. Not quite the result they had last time. However, they at least forced the South to take a timeout here.
The other thing that people don't realize is, especially for linemen, when it's so much about attention to detail and footwork, they haven't been playing football all summer. A lot of these guys have played basketball or hockey and then baseball. So they come together all week. This is the first time a lot of these linemen are getting back into their footwork and their stance. They're going to be a little bit rusty.
Exactly.
More so than other positions.
And I think more than anything else, at any higher level of football, is that the offensive linemen have to know each other. They have to work together, because you got all different kinds of things happening in front of you, and each guy has to know, I got to do this. This is my space, and I got to trust the guy next to me to take care of his space. And right now, it's
second that you don't trust him. All of a sudden, there's an inside-out move, and you get a sack. No,
exactly.
And it isn't that they don't want it to work together. That's the whole point, is that they just haven't had the time to really mesh.
Yeah, it's repetition and knowing who the guys are and what the defenses are doing to you.
3rd and 18. Clark Winicky takes the handoff here for the North All-Stars, and a decent pickup there, but they may be able to run out the clock here and will, because that was the last timeout taken by the South All-Stars. So we are going to reach the halfway point in this one. It's been mainly a defensive game. The South leading the North by a score of 7-2. So a very interesting first half. If you like defense, you're probably pretty excited about what you've seen here.
Yeah, I like the defenses a lot. I thought that Coach Vossen and his staff did a real good job of, giving a little bit different look than what you see all the time. And the way they've played that odd front defense has been successful.
Let's go down now to Allie, and she is with Coach Vossen.
All right, thanks, guys. Got Coach Vossen here. Coach, this game has been all things defense in the first half, and coming from a defensive guy, you got to be loving that.
I love defense. It's awesome. I think the fans for an all-star game, they'd rather see a bunch of high scoring, and I'll be honest, I would like to see us start getting some high scoring going, but we started to come together a little bit towards the end of that first half. We get the ball and we come out. We're excited. We're in a good position right now.
You guys do have that threatening Mankato West connection between Schlichte and Watts. Got some points on the board for you there.
We do. Watts has been a lot of fun this week, signing autographs to fake fans when he's not in coverage. He's a special kid, and Schlichte did a nice job buying some time getting open and getting the ball to him.
What has this experience been like personally for you, coaching an all-star game for the first time?
Honestly, it's just such a humbling honor to get to coach, period, but to get to be the head coach, it's just, you feel like you don't necessarily belong there. I got a whole staff of head coaches, so we've just been picking each other's brains, and it's fun to watch Sean get to work on the offense.
And your favorite part of this week was what?
It was hanging out with the coaches, getting a chance to get together with those guys and meet some small-town guys and other big-town guys, and just our free time we shared together was pretty good.
All right, enjoy it, Coach. Good luck in a second. Back to you, Jay.
Thanks very much, Allie, and thanks, Coach Fossen. We'll be hearing from Darren Lampker, the North coach, coming up before we begin our third quarter. We are at halftime here of the Minnesota Football Coaches Association Tackle Cancer All-Star Game. The South leading the North 7-2. We'll be right back here at St. Cloud State.
That in December of 2016, the annual high school all-star game will be held in partnership with the Minnesota Vikings at the new home.
How are you doing? Good to see you, Bill. Not too bad. What, are you announcing the game here?
Never saving a dime. When they tried to retire, they'd run out of time. Working forever is Tom and Sue's fate, so choose to save now before it's too late. Visit our website to find out more, cause a happy ending's worth saving for.
And welcome back here at halftime at St. Cloud State. The South All-Stars leading the North by a score of 7-2 as we'll check out some first half highlights. And again, as Allie said with Coach Boston, more defensive highlights than offensive certainly here as we get started with the pass completion here for the South All-Stars. As they get things going a little bit through the air, and definitely more so than the North anyway.
Yeah, and I just think Schlichte's too good to be bottled up for a whole day. We saw that on the last drive. There was 1 or 2 early turnovers by the South team, and unfortunately for the North, they weren't able to capitalize. And here was that goal line stand. They had 4 cracks at it, Jay, within the 10-yard line, unable to get some points there.
Then it is the sack by Porozinski for the North on Schlichte that put the 2 points on the board. So it was 2-0 after 1. And then Schlichte throwing out to Raines, a nice completion here, getting them onto the doorstep a little bit.
And I thought Raines' 2 plays on that drive. He had a big run, and that quick play led to this touchdown pass by Schlichte to his teammate, fellow Mankato West teammate Connor Watts.
And Watts looked like he was ready. He knew what to do there when he scored that touchdown. So 7-2, the South All-Stars leading the North at halftime despite those 2 early turnovers, as they have limited the North to very unofficially a total of 63 yards of offense in that first half. They had about 135 of their own, 101 of that coming through the air. We will be back with more of our coverage here of the Tackle Cancer Minnesota All-Star Game in just a moment here. Beautiful afternoon from St. Cloud State. Thanks for joining us here on 12 Sports.
What are you doing, dear? My finances. Every week I divide my allowance. Some to spend, some to charity. But the first thing I do is set aside 10% to save for my future.
That's awfully grown up. Did you learn that in school?
No, Dad taught me. He said if you want something tomorrow, you have to save today. Dad's saving for retirement. I'm saving for a new bike.
Choose to save. To learn how to get started, get your free Power to Choose brochure.
He's a smart man, your father.
And welcome back here to St. Cloud State University as we get set for half number 2 of the Tackle Cancer All-Star Game. Let's go down to Allie.
All right, Coach Lampker, last time I checked, All-Star games are about offense. You got 2 points on the board. Didn't even go deep in the last play of the half. What's going on?
Well, we're a little nervous. We've been sacked a few times, so we're just like, let's get this out of the halftime and regroup.
we'll take some shots this second half. We're having some trouble with their outside backers right now and controlling the game on us. So hopefully we can control them in the second half and make some things happen and try to open it up a little bit. But I got to be able to protect it before I can open it up.
You're entering your 11th season as head coach at Osseo. You've been named Conference Coach of the Year twice. First time being head coach for the All-Star Game. What's this experience been like for you?
It's a great honor. These kids are the best of the best in Minnesota, and it's humbling to be here with them and the other great coaches and all the people in St. John's staff did a great job in St. Cloud State. So it's just been a great experience, and I'll never forget about it. So it's one of those things that you just can only do once in a lifetime, and I've really enjoyed it.
Does it feel weird to coach a live game without a headset?
Yeah, I want to know what's going on, but I got an idea. We're getting killed off the edge, so we got to figure that out.
All right, you go fix that, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Jay.
Thanks very much. And I asked Coach Lamker this week. It was kind of interesting. I know he was a good multi-sport athlete in high school, and he declined a chance to play in the All-Star football game because he had been a quarterback at Armstrong, and they wanted him to play defense. And he said it was not. In hindsight, he wishes he would have made a different decision, but so he declined the chance to play in the football All-Star game. He did play in the basketball All-Star game back then after graduating from Armstrong High School. So, and then went on to have a great career, of course, at Augsburg as quarterback for the Augsburg squad. So certainly done a great job at Osseo too, and really brought that program back to a level that it had been many years before. And he's had to work hard at it. I mean, there's been a lot of changes at Osseo. It isn't the same community as it was back when John Hansen had all those great teams where you could count on big numbers every year in the youth program providing all the players, and he's had to work, he and his staff.
Well, I think with what he's done with the numbers, their numbers are diminished. He's, Totino gets a lot of those guys. Maple Grove gets a lot of those guys. But more than anything, I just think his teams play with his attitude, and there's a toughness about him. I knew him. I've played, basketball against him, and he's just a guy that competes at everything he does, and his team always reflects that. There's no mistakes. There's no bones about it. We're going to come out and knock you in the mouth. We're going to play smart, play hard, and I expect a much better effort out of the North team here in the second half.
Well, I think there's no doubt the point he made is true. We can't really work our passing game if we can't protect any better than what we've done. So that was probably one of their main big things. Obviously, there's not a lot of different things you can do, but they do need to be able to control that pass rush to have much of a chance to get some offense going.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about during the first half, is that and Darren said it, that they're having trouble with the guys coming off the flank, and I think that five-man front challenges you, because you've got a guy on the center. The center can't help either guard out. The guards have to be aware of what that tackle's doing. If the tackle pinches in,
they're going there, and
they're going to be, and the tackle. Then the tackle's left one-on-one with an outside guy, and that guy might have some pretty good wheels. I don't know.
And I think you come into this game, it's all fun and games, but I guarantee Darren Lamker at halftime said, "Guys, we're here to win this ball game," and I will bet that they adjust a little bit. And make no mistake about it, both of these coaches, as I mentioned earlier, very competitive, and they both want once in a lifetime experience to be the head coach. They don't want a loss by their name in the column.
I guarantee it. Yeah, I guarantee. I don't know Brian Vossen very well, but I've known Darren for quite a number of years, and he is as competitive as the day is long.
South team will kick off to the north to begin half number 2. Patrick LaCour, the kicker for the South All-Stars. And again, as we noted earlier, unlike in regular high school games, they are allowing returns out of the end zone on kickoff. So we may see that again here, possibly.
Well, I think it's a big drive here to start the second half. See if they can get, even if they don't score, but can maybe sustain a drive, get a couple of first downs, get some type of momentum going.
Ooh, no.
And Darius Mock is going to try and run this one out, although he caught it backpedaling, which really takes away much of the momentum and does not come near the 20 there, but still worth a shot.
And that's an example of trying to make a big play. You're in an all-star game. The smart play there, you're 8-9 yards deep, is to down it, but you want to make a big play. You want to be a star of the stars on a game like this, and sometimes it works against you.
And there's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I know coaching all-star games, I never criticize guys for wanting to make a big play.
Yep.
A selfish play maybe, but not a big play.
Yep.
Michael Veldman is the quarterback here for the North to begin. He was 2 out of 4 through the air in the first half. Giving it off to Kez Flomo on the left side, and a little bit of a surge there as he'll get out just over the 20-yard line. So about a 5-yard pickup for Kez Flomo, his 5th carry of the game. The back out of Totino Grace got all the way to the Class 6A championship and had a great battle with Eden Prairie before they lost.
Well, even though there's nothing flashy about that, but they got 6 yards on the first down. That's something they hadn't done, winning first down in that first half.
Veldman under pressure again, and down he goes as Cal Rademski finished him off there as he was in trouble right away there. He tried to avoid the initial rush by Garrett Gardner, and then Rademski finishes him.
Just no time as a quarterback. As soon as he turns around, he's got 2 guys flying in his face. You got to just give him a little bit of time because they have playmakers on the outside, but they're not even able to get the ball to him.
Right, and there's a big 12-yard loss right there, and that's where Veldman's been all day long, and he got no help from his running back on that. Kez has got to make an effort on that.
4th sack of double-digit yardage there. There is Flomo getting the ball back out over the 20, but obviously still not enough for a first down there as he'll pick up about 11, maybe 12 on the play.
This will be interesting. It's 4th and 4. They're going to send the punting team. I was wondering if Coach Lamkirk said, you know what, we're going to roll the dice, try to make something happen.
Well, they did find their running seam twice. The first down and third down, they got pretty good yards rushing. So
one adjustment too is maybe they just get back to that quick passing game where where there's not time to get a big sack. These long-lasting, long-developing pass plays just haven't worked so far today.
Grimsley on the return and a nice open field stop. Ben Mazinga out of Totino Grace coming up with the play, and Coach Lamker at Osseo, of course, competing against Grace, and he was extremely impressed with Mazinga this week, both ability-wise and attitude-wise. This will be Ben's last game as a football player who's going to play for the Gophers in baseball, and makes a nice tackle there.
Well, how about this? I didn't realize this, but Coach Lamker in the 9 years, in the last 9 years, Osseo has the highest winning percentage in the Northwest Suburban. I mean, you talk about building a program and then sustaining it, which is often harder to do, and they've certainly done that.
1st and 10 from the 33. Schlichty hit as he throws, and he'll end up overthrowing everyone. And he's a little slow to get up, but he will get to his feet as he threw downfield there. 2nd and 10 coming up as they try and stretch the North defense out there a little bit.
And again, it comes down to time. I think he had to get rid of that before he wanted to, before the receivers really could get down the field. I think if you could give a guy like Schlichty enough time just to let his receivers develop, he's a good enough thrower and smart enough. He knows where to put the ball.
2nd and 10, Schlichty throwing, and incomplete as it's behind Tyler Hardigan. Had receivers out on a couple of levels out on that left side, but just not quite able to connect. Fairly well defended out there anyway by, I think it was Mazinga.
Yeah, the North secondary has done a pretty nice job.
Yep.
Certainly, Schlichty he's got the background to be an outstanding quarterback, and he was in high school. He's seeing a lot of secondary coverages that are pretty good.
3rd and 10, and off the hand that time of Grimsley. He was open. There was definitely some room down deep middle here, and they are going to be coming back to the bench saying, boy, we just missed on that one.
First of all, did you see the pocket? He had a great pocket, stepped up, and that's a throw where you don't have to rifle it in there. That's got to be just a nice touch throw. Let your receiver catch it. There was no defender within about 5 yards. That's going to be a penalty that's declined. But that's a throw that Schlichty's going to make 9 out of 10 times. And sometimes, too, you're amped up. You know you're not getting a lot of opportunities. You want to make the perfect throw. Just take a step. That's a throw he's completed 1,000 times in his career.
Yeah, and I think right when he was ready to release the ball, he got just enough pressure. I was watching his hand let go of the ball. Just
didn't follow through. Yep.
He didn't get a chance to follow through and bring the ball down. And it tailed up on him a little bit.
Well, we saw the last 2 throws, I think, tailed up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things quarterbacks, when they're nervous, the ball will sail.
LaCour on to punt. Fair catch called for this time. Alex Buddy out of Ricori, nearby high school, makes the catch. And at the 26-yard line, it will be 1st and 10 for the North All-Stars as they try and get something going offensively. They have not had a lot of offense to work with so far here today. And let's go down now to Allie.
Thanks, guys. I have Mankato West quarterback, state champion Ryan Schlichte here, who also happens to be my neighbor. I grew up a few houses down. I like to think that I taught him how to throw that long ball, but we had a long one over to Connor Watts for the only touchdown in that first half. What's that like to throw that to your teammate here in the All-Star?
You know, it's pretty cool. We've been working together all week, all season. Our whole lives actually, and just for him to be able to come back to the ball like that was a great play by him, and I just give it to him where he needed to be.
Mr. Football finalist for Minnesota this year, Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year, lots of accolades. You had a great career at Mankato West. Talk about what that career was like for you.
Oh man, that was unbelievable. Play for the school you grow up watching is something you want to do as a little kid on those Friday night lights, and the teammates, my brothers I played with, are the greatest teammates in the world. I love those guys to death, and I wouldn't be here without them.
Heading to play at MSU Mankato, going to be playing quarterback there, playing in your hometown. How excited are you for that?
You know, I'm very excited to be staying in a hometown. A lot of people around the town that I haven't even met in a long time or seen in a long time have come up and be glad I'm staying in town, so it's been really, really special.
Has it been, have you met some guys who you'll be playing against this year and kind of chirped them a little bit already?
You know, a little bit. There's been some stuff going around. Some guys I've been saying that are going to D1. If it doesn't work out, they know where to come back to.
All right, Ryan. Go have fun out there. We'll see you again. Thanks. Back to you, Jay.
Thanks very much, Allie. A couple nice running plays. Clark Winicky out of Maple Grove ripping off a 17-yard gain, and then Santiago out of St. Francis doing so again. North is getting it going now at the south 45-yard line. Little reverse action here to Mazenga. Gets a block from his quarterback. Mazenga getting another block. South wanted a penalty, and now we do see a flag fly late. And
that ball was out before he was down unless a whistle blew.
And Mazenga didn't like that somebody came in late on his legs and pushed him, and the first really time we've seen a little bit of animosity between the two sides here. The flag came down, you know, as the play was developing out there, and I think it's going to be either a hold or an illegal block in the back, probably on the flank there, but we'll see. And it is indeed a hold. There are actually two different guys locked up. I don't think the first action was called, but the second was.
The hold was on the outside there. Yeah. But I'll tell you that, nothing, you know, and you know this, Coach, too, nothing can kill a momentum drive like this rather than a penalty.
Yeah.
Two nice runs, quick hitter runs for the North team, getting their offense going, and then you get a big penalty like that to set you up 1st and 19.
I would think that you come right back to those inside the tackle runs that you had some success with, or not.
Fake the reverse this time, and a nice cut made there by Jade Lawrence, and certainly would seem that they've maybe figured a little bit something out in terms of their run blocking here.
Well, I just like the running backs are hitting the holes quick. They're just trying to get yards rather than trying to hit a home run, take 5, 6, 7 yards a carry, and they're winning that line of scrimmage battle, which all this jelly and all this outside stuff, it all comes down to winning in between the tackles. Who's winning that front? And right now it looks like the North offensive line is starting to fire off the ball a little bit, winning those battles.
2nd and 13 now for the North Stars. Snap again a little bit low. Here's Hendricks going to run this one himself, but a nice open field wrap up there, and a pretty good game so far here by Jacob Johnson. Another stop there.
If he doesn't make that tackle, there's a lot of room. You know, that could have potentially been a big play, but what a nice tackle by Johnson. And instead of maybe 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, it's still 3rd and 12. And you got to start wondering on this side of the football field if it's not 4 down territory here.
3rd and a dozen, especially after you got the confidence of those first couple big plays. I don't think they want to give the ball back here. Hand off to Flomo, and a lot of traffic. He runs into his own guys and picks up maybe a yard.
Do you see who's winning? I mean, those offensive linemen were pushed back a good 2 or 3 yards. You got to fire off the ball. Give these great running backs at least a chance to make a play. There's just nothing, no room.
And the the defensive line, each one of those guys hit a seam that time, and they really got good penetration. Like you said, they got right on the hip of the offensive guy and got upfield. You only got to get upfield one step as a defensive lineman, and you've taken the line of scrimmage away.
Yep. And now you got 4th and 11 with the rush of that South defense. I mean, this is not a good situation.
Hendricks firing over the middle, complete to Mazenga, and they'll have the first down. Mazenga, probably more of a defensive player, known for Totino Grace, but playing some wide receiver here as well, and they designed this one nicely. Got it out quick, and Mazenga was open.
Well, you touched on it, Jay. Got it out quick. It was a 3-step drop. There was no waiting. There was no long developing pass route. It was just a quick hitter. Mazenga found the open spot. I love those quick hitting pass plays, especially against a defensive line that's had such success rushing the passer.
Yep, exactly. That's it. And that seam is right there where you don't have a linebacker, as the outside linebacker is committed on the line of scrimmage.
Here's Winicky taking the handoff. He'll gain about 3 before he's tossed down by Gunnar Grimsrud out of Rochester Mayo.
Yeah, and even that play, that was fine. It was a quick hitter. Yep. You got Winicky, who's a strong, powerful kid. He gets hit right away, but watch his momentum take him forward another yard or 2. 3 or 4 yards on first down. The way this ball game has gone, I think that's a win for the North.
That's a good play right there on first down.
2nd and 7 now for the North as they get a march going. Play action, Hendricks, rush coming, throwing on the run, and just had to get rid of that one. Really no receiver in the area. And considering how many big sacks they've taken, that was the play you had to make there.
We got rid of it, but I tell me if you guys disagree. I don't like these long developing plays. No. Their success has been these quick passes or these quick-hitting running plays.
Yep.
Anytime you give this defense a chance, for whatever reason, the offensive line is not firing off the ball. You don't have a lot of time. I think they got to strike quick.
I agree. And the offensive linemen, you build confidence with them when they're able to hook up quick and make a quick pop and let the back go through.
Hendricks faking the handoff, keeps it himself, and forced to the outside and out of bounds. Brad Ballman out of Marshall coming up to knock him out. He got some yardage, but not enough for the first, but certainly in a spot where they will go for it here with 4th and about 2 to 3 yards to go.
How about Brad Ballman, number 9 from Marshall, coming out of the defensive backfield there, just closing on that in a hurry, which would have been a for sure first down. Instead, it's going to set up 4th and short, but at least it's a 4th and manageable, and not a 4th and 12 again.
Yep.
4th down and 3 here for the North. 5:25 to go, 3rd quarter. They trail 7-2. Hendricks surveying the defense here. Here's where you go with your play you're most confident in here.
He's got a one-on-one up there.
Yeah, we're going to have a timeout taken here by the North.
You don't think this possession matters to both of these coaches? They're recognizing what a big, finally getting some momentum offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe wasn't comfortable with the play call. He saw the defense kind of creeping in. He's going to regather here, Coach Lamaker, and make sure they get a good play call in.
Had the safeties in that formation. The safeties were both pulled up to about 7-8 yards, and boy, when you see that, that's when you want to hit a seam or a quick fade, especially when you got a 6'6" guy out there.
And this is where you're not having the preparation of your normal team, because you got guys that are all on different pages. Maybe the quarterback sees something but doesn't trust that his linemen are going to be on that page. So, do you go into a play like this where you have a check with me with the quarterback, where you have a set play? If he sees a front that he doesn't like, he can switch to something else here. But I think this might be, in this young game, the most important play we've had so far.
Here we go with this 4th down and 3 now for the North. Very early in the game, they had opportunity inside the 5, but couldn't score it. They go with the handoff, and it is going to get them the first down. John Santiago making his 3rd big run of the game there. Probably not the call I was expecting, and maybe the South wasn't expecting it either.
No, and you can see penetration by the South team, and Santiago just uses his quickness, gets outside, turns it upfield, and that's a big first down conversion.
Yeah, right at the line to gain. He made a very physical contact with the defender that bump him back one step and give him that extra yard.
Well, you're starting to feel, too, that guys are running a little bit harder right now. They're playing a little bit harder. It's, you know, like any all-star game, it's fun, but these guys want to win, and you're starting to feel the importance of each play. Maybe holding their block a little bit longer, running a little bit harder.
First down now from the 21. He's looking up top for Mazinga. He's got it. Touchdown.
That was a big-time play. That was a little in and out move.
Yeah.
Mazinga just ran it perfectly, and what great touch on that ball. It looked like he was going to overthrow him at first, and Mazinga just ran right under it. That's a great throw and catch, and a big-time drive here by the North All-Stars to take the lead. Now I would imagine they're going to go for 2 here to try to increase their lead to 3.
Yeah, I think you pretty much have to on that. You know, 2-point lead never does you much good.
Now Hendricks with a great throw from Bemidji. He gave a little bit of shoulder fake as it looked like it was going to be a quick slant. Mazinga turned it outside. He had no safety help up high. Just a perfect throw.
Hendricks will try and bring him in here for the 2-point conversion. Looking left, now throwing in a diving try, and what a great grab. Zylstra laying out. I thought this one was going to be too far for him to get to, but he stretches out and keeps hold of the ball. What a great catch.
Well, and this is the touchdown play, and again, it was an in and out move, and it's really the similar pass route for the 2-point conversion. Zylstra came in like he was going to throw a slant. Here's the touchdown again. Just a beautiful rainbow throw. Nice touch.
And nice grab. Boy, that over the shoulder catch is tough.
Rough. You can see Zylstra came in like he was going to run that slant. Ball hung up in the air. Look at that effort. Just completely sprawled out. Beautiful catch.
I thought when that left his hand, I didn't think Zylstra had a chance at getting to that because his hips were the wrong direction, and he got his hips around and got 2 steps on the ground before he launched to lay out to catch that ball. That last effort was as good as you'll see any place.
And to change direction and then to go from 0 to 100% with the ball coming over your shoulder, and that is a very difficult catch, very athletic catch, and what a response by the North team.
Yeah.
We haven't seen offense all day long. They come out, answer the drive here, and they take the lead.
They kind of throwing the gauntlet down now for the South offense to see what are they going to come back with.
But again, I thought that drive was a result of they were able to run the football effectively.
Exactly.
And everything kind of came out from underneath that.
Danielson kicking off here for the North, squibbing it on the ground, fielded by Justin Arnold. And Arnold wrapped up, brought down about the 38-yard line. And obviously you're not going to get the same kind of speech as you would get at halftime of a playoff game or anything, but I have to believe the coaches kind of challenged their pride a little bit at halftime too and said, you know what, we're having fun this week, but how about you guys play a little bit, you know? And
but you know what, it's a game that you're going to remember the rest of your life, and, you know, does it mean anything? No, you don't go to the state, the national tournament, nothing like that, but your name is on this year and this team, and you want to be on the winning side of it. That's for sure. And you can tell guys are picking it up a little bit. The execution has definitely gotten better.
Handoff going to Rains, wrapped up by Shopper there as a decent gainer as the South line saying, how about we respond in kind here, and a nice gainer for Rains to start it out.
Yeah.
I've always figured if there's referees and there's a scoreboard, you might as well try and go at it as hard as any other time.
Exactly, and South running 2 plays real quickly here, both to Will Rains, and the defenses have kind of dominated this game to this point, and I think the offenses are saying, hey, we're playing here too. Now the challenge will be for the defense to see how are they going to hold together when they get pushed.
Hart keeping it and stacked up as he is met up nicely by Adam Brandt out of Maple Grove, and he gives it the no-go sign here. He really only had one guy to beat, but watch Brandt hold his ground.
Well, what's amazing is he's coming back from the second level there, and he's really almost like another linebacker. He recognizes it's not a pass early on, and he's such a sure tackler, too. He gets his hands on you, you're going to go down. And not the response that the South wanted, a quick 3 and out. And now, this game is always about momentum. You got a hot offense coming off their only drive of the game. They're going to get the ball back, and they're going to be ready to attack. And this this is exactly what Coach Lamker, I think, envisioned for the second half.
Yeah, and I think people forget in all-star games too that momentum swings are common just because you've got two different groups of players, you know, two offenses or whatever. It's not unusual to see things that you know, the game kind of take a big turn at halftime or after a quarter or whatever.
Yep. You can have an illegal procedure or an offside, yep.
Well, that's always a hard thing with this, is getting your punt team assembled and everyone remembering exactly where they're at and what they're doing. That really is what you spend the bulk of your time on this week, is just getting your lineups down.
It's so hard to get your offense and defense together that the kicking game is always left to be the third wheel, and it's the toughest part of do anything, because one of the coaches on the sideline has the names of the guys, but they don't know the guys well enough, and they don't know whose name goes with them. And
what they look like.
Where's Johnson? Where's Johnson? Johnson, you out there? You know, and then they grab somebody and throw them out. And
LaCour will punt it again here, and Mazenga will take it at the 22. He tried to take the ball from him here. He's able to stay up and keep possession here. So the North All-Stars now leading 10-7, get the football back in decent field position as they try and duplicate what they were able to do last time around.
Is Mazenga a tough kid or what? He's 6 foot, 180 pounds. He took about 6 guys to bring him down. He's just a feisty little guy.
And as soon as he caught the ball, Robbie Grimsley was right on him and ripping at that ball. He almost tore his arm off trying to get that ball out.
Mazenga is one of, I think, about 3 guys who were in the baseball All-Star Series last weekend. We had a chance to see him play down in Chaska, and then it was pretty much a quick turnaround, as they reported Monday for this. So they, a lot of All-Star activity, but he said, no, I love them both. So batted down at the line. Veldman probably fortunate that one didn't get intercepted on a deflection here.
Well, Jackson Ryan, number 73, watch him time that jump. J.J. Watt-like. And he kept the ball. I actually thought maybe he could have made a play on the ball. But, that's another big thing for these quarterbacks transitioning to the next level, is the defensive linemen are a lot bigger, a lot taller, a lot more athletic. Getting that, making sure that the passes don't get batted down is a big part of that next level.
Nice turn.
Good, strong cut-up field there, and South, I think, barking for a hold call there as Lawrence took the handoff, and will get about 5. They've done a pretty good job. I have a feeling, yes, you want to win the game and everything, but they've gotten each of their backs roughly equal some carries. I mean, you don't want to bring a guy to an All-Star game as a running back and never give him the ball either. So they're mixing it up.
Well, and I think that balance will pay off here as we get further in the game. Guys getting worn down, they're going to be fresh.
Veldman doesn't handle the snap. Flomo, I believe it is, gets on it for the North, but obviously a big loss, and they will have to punt it away.
We've seen a number of low snaps on these shotguns, and fortunate for the North not to turn that ball over, give up good field position.
Well, and that got ugly real quick.
So Veldman will be the punter here, as waiting back deep, Watts and Grimsley.
I think the North's offense is running a little bit smoother when Hendricks is at quarterback.
It seems to be.
Veldman's punt, not a particularly long one, but they will not return it, so it's down at the 38-yard line, 1:50 in the third, and the South All-Stars trailing by 3 get the football back.
This is a tough point in the game. You're getting towards the end of the third quarter. It's hot. Everybody's a little more tired than they thought they might be. The emotion of the first half has kind of got away, and now it's a slog. Now you're going to find out which offensive and defensive lines want to take control of the line of scrimmage. Now it's who controls the line of scrimmage is going to determine what happens.
Who stayed in shape that fourth quarter of school and into the summer?
Yeah,
we're going to find out. Oh, nice throw, nice catch, but what a hit.
Mazenga lowering the boom there on Sam Zenner as he made the catch.
I guess Mazenga decided to show up to play.
Oh, he's a gamer. There's no question. As soon as that ball is completed, Mazenga right there, and all that. I mean, that was a pretty long throw across the field, only for 2 yards. A lot of action for a 2-yard gain. But again, it was a quick throw. I like that quick decision-making offense.
And comes back the other side. This one will be incomplete. This time the hit by Booty.
It looks like the North defense is starting to play a little bit more, a little bit more tight man-to-man. And, boy, somebody got it. I don't know, was that Booty that got the – boy, he got a nice run at that.
I like the offense. I like the quick throws, but, God, hats off to the North for their defensive backs are right on the ball when it's arriving.
Yep.
3rd and 8. Fake short, goes long, but it's going to be out of bounds as they try to go up top to Tyler Hardigan. Tried to get him with that shoulder fake out into the flat after a couple short throws, and does not pay off, so they will have a quick 3 and out also.
A nice job by Ryan Seahawk from Detroit Lakes, the defensive back, using the sideline as his friend, knowing there just wasn't any room. Don't get beat deep. Use that, force the receiver into the sideline where there's not a lot of room, and both offenses now quick 3 and outs. It's almost like we don't want it, you guys have it back, you guys try it again. So quick 3 and outs. Which offense is going to find that rhythm again? I have a feeling it's going to take one more score for either side, and who's that going to be?
LaCour on to punt again for the South. Gets away a nice kick. Drifting back is Booty to take it, and Grimsley there again.
He's a football player.
Probably Grimsley not letting any grass grow under his feet, is he?
Look at him get down there, beat his guy, beat 2 guys. That's about the 3rd or 4th time today on the punt coverage where he's been right there as they've caught it and able to secure the tackle.
Well, and those outside gunners, though, are helped by the fact that there's no rush, so the punter can take his sweet time, and they're all the way downfield by the time
They don't have to wait,
Yeah.
But that's where, as the guy that's covering him, you got to get a body on him, slow him down just a little bit.
You got to run with him.
Easier said than done, I know,
absolutely.
But give your guy a chance. Instead, you got the ball at the 5-yard line here, backed up against the wall. And this could be a big defensive series for the South.
Hendricks throwing from near his end zone and incomplete. The defender probably had a better shot at it than anyone there as Ben Boothie out of New Prague reached up for that when he was looking for Bloom.
But Hendricks knew he had to get rid of it. The pressure was coming. He's in his own end zone. And I actually like that he got the ball out of his hands early, even though it wasn't completed. It was a smart play. Interesting call, too, on 1st down, going for a longer pass out of their end zone.
So 2nd and 10 now for the North, just outside their 5-yard line. They're up by 3, but not wanting to have anything bad happen here deep in their own territory. Handoff here and a big gap to run through for Flomo. They'll try to rip at the ball, but Kez will hang on out over the 25.
And again, a quick hitter right between the tackles. He actually got a nice job just untouched through the line there. You can see his speed. When he gets a full head of steam going, he's a load to bring down. And again, I like that, just quick hitting. There's no dancing, there's no thinking. You just hit the hole, and that's when both teams really, but especially the North team has had their success running the football.
Yeah, they got a good turnout on the defensive end that time.
Half minute to go here in the quarter. 1st down to work with. Here's Winicky left side. Shakes off the first guy and fights forward out over the 30. That one didn't look like it was going to do much, and he'll end up getting 5 or 6 out of it.
How about that effort? Look at him run into a wall, spins back,
right there,
cuts right back. Beautiful effort. That was just all effort, Clark Winicky. And again, a nice 6-yard gain on 1st down.
Yeah, runs right out of the arms of a defender that could have had him for a 3 or 4 yard loss.
Garrett Gardner on the stop there, and we have reached the end of the 3rd quarter now as the North team getting the only points of the quarter on that pass from Hendricks to Mazinga. It is 10-7 North. We'll be back with our 4th quarter here in just a moment. Welcome back here to St. Cloud State. Allie has one of the big guys down on the sideline.
He is a little bigger than me, bigger than a few of them out here. I've got Jordan Tweet from Minneapolis. Jordan, you are headed to South Dakota State University this year as a walk-on. What are you looking forward to most with that?
I'm just looking for another team. I love their team, and I hope I can keep up that family feeling.
How do you feel you've been playing here today so far?
All right. I can tell that I'm not as in shape as I was at the end of the season.
Right, yeah, I hear that. Probably a few guys are feeling that here on this hot day. What's been your favorite part about being at St. John's University all week, practicing with these guys?
Well, there's a lot of interesting guys here. It makes a funny time. Lots of fun.
All right, sounds like it was a good time for you, Jordan. Go out there, get back to your guys. We'll send it back up to you, Jay.
Thanks very much. And Santiago that time bouncing it to the outside, but not much room there, and he's cut down on a tackle at about the line of scrimmage here.
Well, that's about the best effort I've ever seen for a no-yard gain. Look at him leap over that. Just nowhere to go, no room, but heck of an effort.
That was exactly what I was thinking as that was developing. This guy's putting in an awful lot of effort to go nowhere.
And they did not start the clock when the fourth quarter began, so I think they're going to do some adjustment here.
I think Coach Vossen's bribing the officials and the official timekeeper, trying to give them as much time as possible.
I think they're going to zip forward another 15 or so. I believe he said 11:30, and then go from there because it was still stuck at 12, and obviously that play had taken some time.
Both first and second down had taken some time. Oops.
Well, and again, it comes down to this is where getting good yards on first down is so valuable. You have a second down where you get nothing, but now you're in a third and manageable where you can still run the ball. You got short passing plays that could be effective. It's a lot harder to defend third and short rather than third and 12.
Hendricks is going to run for it, and he will make it with ease. Yep. Nice open field stop by Jackson, but Hendricks real decisive on that one and able to pick it up.
You know, that's what we had thought we would see from Hendricks earlier in the game, you know, making the decision to keep the ball. That was really a nice read play, and he found that seam and attacked it right away for, you know, a 10 or 11 yard gain.
Well, I think that's the key, Bill, is he didn't wait. He knew right away where he was going to go, and you can see he's explosive. He goes 0 to 10 in a hurry, and there was a nice opening there for him, a nice decisive play.
Here's Lawrence stepping through the middle there and out near midfield to about the 48. Give him 6 more on that carry. So their offensive line and backs have certainly had a better second half than they did first.
And if you watch that replay, you're seeing a lot of red jerseys down the field rather than up the field, which we saw in the first half. So we were wondering who's in better shape, who's going to start exerting their will. And right now it looks like that North offensive line is starting to fire out the ball.
2nd and 5. They'll call it from the 47 for the North team as they protect a 10-7 lead. Hendricks faking the handoff. Shook one tackle, but not able to get around Grant Moser of Lakeville South, who came up and made the stop. I think that time he could have stood to cut it up a little harder right away. A little bit, you know, trying to juke a guy, and it just didn't pay off.
Yeah, I think once you get to playing against all-stars, and you got to make your first decision, you go with it, because then it's got to be all speed and power. If you're juking around, the other guy, he's not slowing down.
Yeah, and these guys, where maybe in a regular season game, they're so much better that they can get away with it. Here, you got to make a split-second decision, or these guys are going to close on you.
And before this third down play can happen, I think we have a timeout requested by Darren Lampker, the North head coach, and that is indeed the case, as they were not where they wanted to be with that play, so they'll talk things over a little bit here.
Well, and again, Coach Lampker sensing maybe the urgency and the importance of this third down conversion. You got good momentum. You got the lead. It's 3rd and 4. Let's make sure we have the right play in place. Let's keep this drive going. If nothing else, take more time off the clock.
Absolutely.
And I think both of these head coaches are trusting their defense too right now. Let's not make a mistake. No turnovers. Our defenses are playing solid. Let's make that South team have to earn their next score and march down the field on us. Let's not give them something easy here.
You know, and you get to the point too. You know, you're getting 4 or 5 yards at a crack running the ball. Why throw it?
Yep, yeah.
you're using up. You got the lead. It's a narrow lead.
And I think, too, in a timeout like that, maybe Coach Lamker, maybe some of those linemen come over and say, Coach, we got you. You know, you ride us right now.
Yeah.
3rd and 4. Hendricks play action, and the pass was tipped, broken up. Brett Shepley might have saved that first down.
Yeah, and Blake Marino was open, the tight end, over in the flat. He would have had an easy first down. That's just a great effort by Shepley out of Burnsville, just going up and getting it. You can see right there, too, Hendricks knew he missed an opportunity for a first down.
Yeah, once you get a guy in the air, you know, that's where your quarterbacks, they see that guy in the air. A lot of times they'll just tuck that ball.
Yeah, ball fake and then run right by him.
Yep.
But I think, you know, you talk about a guy like J.J. Watt in the NFL. I think he's changed football because these defensive linemen, if they can't get the sack, they're taught now to jump up and disrupt that ball.
Feldman's punt, and can they save it in? It looks like yes. However, the South will pick it up, but not much real estate there for Connor Watts. As the North never actually downed the ball, they touched it just short of the goal line. Heads up play, I guess, by Watt here to try and run this, but what a great play by Mazenga to stop it.
Yeah, that's a smart play to pick up the ball and run because you got nothing to lose with that because the ball, even if you fumble the ball away, it's going to go back to first touch. So,
well, and rather than starting at the 1 or 2, you start at the 6. You give your quarterback a little bit of extra time, extra room. So how about Mazenga and Robbie Grimsley on special teams today? They've just been all over the place.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see those two just square off in a one-on-one football game.
Hart's the quarterback. He's going to tuck it and go. Gets past one and wrapped up by Mock, and then as he's being held up, a little hello by Daniel Hutterlick there, finishing him off.
Well, in a nice quick decision by Hart. He saw the seam there to run the ball, knowing that he's been under pressure, just turned it upfield. Got a big gain, 9 yards on first down.
Getting to the point where South probably is only going to have, maybe 2 more possessions here, so they want to make something out of this one as Landon Jacobson will get the first down.
Well, I'm surprised Landon Jacobson hasn't had more of an impact on this game. He's such a dominating running back. Just hasn't really had an opportunity to get loose. And I guess you credit the North defense for that.
Yeah, third rush of the game for Jacobson for just a total of 9 yards. Hart looking to throw out into the flat to Rains. Has it there. Rains bouncing off guys and is near the first down. That's one of those guys where you're coming up and you break down, you say, and then just that little split second of, do I really want to hit this guy?
Yeah. You do, but you see what happens when you tackle him high. He's too powerful.
Yeah.
You got to hit him low, take his legs out, and then he becomes just a normal human being. But he's so powerful and strong. And he runs low, too. I mean, credit to him.
Second and a couple here for the South All-Stars. Handoff trying to go with the sweep, but nothing doing as there's Horozinski who made that safety early in the game, able to make the stop there on a nice tackle.
He's had a heck of a game, hasn't he? I mean, he sheds his blocker. He's right there waiting for it. Just no chance to turn that upfield.
Let's go down to Allie.
All right, guys, I've got Ben Mazenga here, who's probably a little bit tired playing both offense and defense. You're making receptions, you're rushing, and you're making tackles. How fun is this game for you?
Oh, it's a blast, coming out in the fall with my high school team. It was really fun because I played both sides of the ball there, too. And it definitely is a workout, but it's the most fun I've ever had playing football.
Both your brother and your father have played in the All-Star games. How does that kind of feel for you, kind of when you bring it full circle?
It's awesome, kind of making it a family tradition. Hopefully it's a lot of hard work that's going into it. And I'm just really happy to help my family stay in this game, and hopefully my little brother will be up here in a couple years.
The only touchdown for your team so far today. Walk us through that play.
Oh, it was awesome. We've been running that play for a while in practice, and that's one of the only routes that I really practiced with on the offense. And we had it down to a T, and the quarterback threw a great ball, and all I had to do was catch it. He made it easy on me.
Nice. Well, Ben, you are headed to the University of Minnesota to play baseball this year. We wish you the best of luck there.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to you, Jay.
Thanks very much, Allie, and it's been a lot of fun watching Ben play in his high school career, and certainly out here today. The South getting the march going, though, as they pick up the first down out to the 30-yard line. 7:05 to play in the ball game.
And again, a quick quarterback keeper, decisive. He turned the corner, and both teams had a lot of success doing that.
Schlichte firing out into the flat, and some fight shown there as in not wanting to go down. Not a particularly long gainer there, but Justin Arnold, who's a 200-pound wide receiver out of Chaska, was not easy to get to the turf.
And you can't see it in our picture, but Coach Lamker was out on the field. I thought he was going to go help make that tackle. You don't think he wants this one? He's out in the field. He probably would have thrown a helmet on and tried to make that tackle.
2nd down and 8 here for the South team. They trail at 10-7, but a promising start to a drive that started back at their 6.
When you're getting to a point, too, about 6:15 remaining, where your time becomes an issue, you're starting to watch that clock.
Schlichte throwing it deep, looking for Watts, and he has it. Great throw, great catch, and they're down inside the 30.
Well, there's the timing between those two, and this was a really well-thrown ball. He threw that not only down the field, but across the field as well. And he hung it up there, and Watts just ran underneath it, perfectly thrown, and a beautiful catch, too.
And Buddy didn't play that poorly. He was just one step arrears of Watt, and Watt made the nice effort on that.
Got a 42-yard gain. Here is Jacobson taking the handoff, and he has some room to go. Down inside the 20 to about the 18, so they open things up with the long pass play and then pop a quick run through for about 8, and they look like they could be on the march trying to take the lead back.
Well, that's, as a coach, too, it drives you nuts. You tell your defensive backs, you really, in a game like this, you have one rule: don't let the guy get behind you. And a lot of times that's easier said than done, especially Watts, who's a very speedy wide receiver, but you got to just keep him in front of you.
Well, I think, too, it's like you said, there's a timing element between Schlichte and Watt that, that doesn't exist in a lot of, all-star games because they haven't worked together. Those guys have worked together for 3-4 years, and that's where that kind of a play can be successful. A lot of other guys might not have been able to get the ball to that spot, would have been underthrown or overthrown, or the receiver wouldn't have known exactly where to get to. And he had to make a heck of an effort to get that ball. It wasn't like it dropped in his hands.
I think pretty smart time out here by the North team, as the South really had them on their heels with those back-to-back nice plays, and here you slow their momentum, kind of get your guys calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, but keep in mind, too, I mean, with 5:33 left, let's say South does score here, you want to save at least one of your timeouts potentially for a drive coming down to the last minute or two of the game. So you just regroup, make sure everyone knows what they're doing, everyone's got their assignment, and we've seen a lot in this game. Defense is giving up yards, but unable to get into the end zone. So they still got 18 yards to go here to get in the end zone.
2nd and 1 here for the South, so a lot of opportunity playbook-wise to do different things here. Schlichte throwing out into the flat. 1st down with ease to Arnold. He is wrapped up and dropped, but he gets about 6, and that's easily enough for the 1st down.
Well, that shows, too, and you hit a home run down the field, your safeties and cornerbacks now are going to soften up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can see Arnold had a lot of space there. That's an easy throw for Schlichte to make. Easy pass and catch. Now things are starting to open up a little bit for the South offense.
1st and 10 on the 12 here for the South. Schlichte getting his team set. This time we'll go to Rains up the middle. Rains breaks the first tackle and spins down to about the 9, maybe the 8.
And that looked like there was going to be little or no gain, and Rains makes it a 4, almost 5-yard gain.
Well, and Schlichte and Rains are going to be teammates at Mankato next year, so they'll get used to playing in the backfield together.
Under 5 to play here. 2nd down and 6. Schlichte faking one way. Now he's going to try and tuck it and go, and wrapped up is Faustin Wirtz out of Esco getting over there to get a piece of him.
Boy, and Wirtz really came a long way from that linebacker spot to make that play on Schlichte. It was about a 3-yard gain, but really well done by the defense, and Schlichte does a nice job of keeping the defense on their heels with running the ball.
3rd down and 2 from the 4, so they can obviously get a 1st down. It's not a goal-to-go situation here, and here is Schlichte. Protection breaks down. He's going to run, and he will step on into the end zone. Touchdown South as they take the lead right back.
Yeah, interesting. The defense backed up there, and they kept backing up, not realizing maybe where that goal line was, and a nice decision. Slicky, instead of trying to force a pass in, they're able to just run it in on his own. You see right there was a bunch of defenders just waiting in the back. You got to close on them. They took a hit, or he gave a hit, I should say.
He gave the hit to the tackler. That was Wirtz from Esco, who made the previous plays.
LaCour coming on to kick the extra point here and he hits the upright, so the kick is no good.
That could be big here. Instead of needing a touchdown to tie this game, only 3 points down, that could come into play.
Keep in mind, though, they don't necessarily have a field goal guy that they'd be too confident in, I don't think.
Certainly had plenty of leg. That looked like it would have been good from about 50, but just off to the left a little bit, hits the crossbar, the sidebar.
I think it surprised everybody on the South that one didn't go through. He hit it solid, but just a game of inches even on kicks.
So much for having just a kicker on the.
Yeah, but now the kickoff can really be a situation where you can put the North offense in a deep hole.
Well, and this is where I think the two teams are different. With a guy like Schlichty at quarterback for the South, I think going the length of the field in a couple of minutes is doable. With this North offense, I mean, they've had one successful drive this afternoon, and it took a while.
Right.
They were running the football, short passing plays, so I think this is a big ask of this North offense.
Yeah, they're going to have to get 2 or 3
bigger
pretty
chunks,
good plays, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't run the ball, because they've had a couple of 18-yard rushing.
And 3:57's plenty of time. You got no timeout left. Clock does stop in high school football after a first down, remember?
Yep.
So plenty of time here. You're not in a hurry. You don't need to get it all at once. But getting a nice return would certainly be
that would
beneficial.
be I'm sure what they would like.
LaCour kicking off here for the South, able to drive that one into the wind to about the 3-yard line, where Mock will take it for the North All-Stars, and Mock out over the 25 to about the 27-yard line. And so here we go. North, I think you'd say probably their last drive with the football, down by 3, but as you guys said, definitely time to do it. You don't need to be in a hurry, but you do need to be aware of what the clock is saying too.
Yeah, and on the South time, you're telling your safeties, your D-backs, just keep everything in front of you. Don't fall for a double move. Watch out for reverses, trick passes, double passes, all that stuff that I'm sure Coach Lamker maybe has saved up his sleeve here for this final drive.
Veldman is the quarterback for the North team. A single setback behind him is Flomo. And Veldman drops the snap. It looks like he got it back himself, but that obviously doesn't help as a drive starter here, and he might be a little bit banged up here too. And Veldman holding. I'm wondering if
almost looked too like someone hit his neck.
So thankfully we really haven't had too many apparent injuries today, but now late in the game, Veldman struggling to get back up.
I think when he was diving on this ball, you're going to watch the defender coming in, watch his neck and his shoulder,
And you get
maybe a little stinger.
Yeah.
I actually was thinking at first that maybe his finger, the ball had been snapped into the bottom of his finger, but I think you're right. It's more like in the shoulder and neck area that he's flexing a little bit. I think that was true. When he went forward, the defender was going forward, and the shoulder pad hit him in the side of the head.
And that's a fairly common thing in all-star games. The quarterback wants to get away from the center because he knows he's got to get moving, and either the ball doesn't get up high enough, quick enough, or the quarterback pulls his hands out before the ball's there, and all of a sudden it's on the floor and you're scrambling around.
Good news is that Veldman able to get up and walk off here, so Hendricks will come back in.
Veldman's, I mean, he's a big boy for a quarterback. He's 6'4", 190, 195 pounds. He's built to play at that next level. Of course, going to North Dakota State along with his counterpart here, James Hendricks.
2nd and 10. Play action. Hendricks eludes the rush. Looking downfield, throwing it up for grabs, and almost intercepted as Joey Eckhoff cut in front of Brandt, and they battled for it.
Flag in the backfield here.
Yeah, we had a block that was thrown. This might be declined. I don't know if it was a clip. It was out in the kind of in the open area just as he was throwing. Actually a hold, they call it. And
what a play by Hendricks, though, just to get out of that, and then actually get enough on this throw. It looked like he might complete that. He threw it underneath. Yeah, that's a heck of a play just to get rid of the ball.
I thought Brandt was going to make the catch too.
They will accept the penalty, so back to the 15.
I think when you got a big penalty like that at this point in the field, you want to push him back.
Take it. Yes, absolutely. I was thinking it was farther downfield. It might kind of mitigate that, but.
Well, here's where you got to get a positive play here. You got to get at least 10, 15 yards, set up a 3rd and manageable.
Here's Kez Flomo with a big hole up the middle, although a good tackle by Johnson, and he has been very sure tackler today. So it was a good game that looked like it was going to be even better. It was about an 8-yard pickup.
Yeah, you don't see Kez Flomo go down with one tackle very often. Nice, sure tackle.
Sure tackle right on his knee and ankle, and just brings him down.
And I think here too, you don't have to get it all. I think, you're setting up, try to just get a positive play, 7, 8 yards, where you set up a 4th down and manageable.
Hendricks fakes the handoff, has to avoid the rush. Rolling, looking, wants to throw, comes downfield for Brandt and throws it short. Brandt was trying to come back to the ball once they realized everything had broken down. Another flag on the play. Looks like it might be against the North again. South bench first reaction was to decline this. We'll see.
And I thought Hendricks there could have maybe just turned it up the field and gained 10 to 15 yards on that play.
That would have been what I was looking at too. I thought he had an awful lot of green. I think he could have run the ball down there and handed it to Adam Brandt.
And the South defense was clapping, so it looks like this is going to be against the North.
I think it's going to be an illegal.
At this point, the question is, do you accept it or?
Yeah.
Illegal pass.
Yeah. He was over the line of scrimmage when he let it go.
Oh, it's a loss of down.
Yeah. So now it's 4th. Well, the North now has gotten themselves in a hole. You got 4th and 14. 4th and 15 with just a couple minutes to 2:41 to go in the game. You're in a really hard decision right here.
So a big play required for the North. Let's go to Allie quickly for a little injury update on Michael Veldman.
Guys, you'll be seeing James Hendricks out there on the offensive end of the ball for the rest of the game. They're concerned about a neck injury with Veldman, so taking precautionary measures. They're just going to have him sit tight and let Hendricks take the realm.
Here we go, 4th down play. Thanks, Allie. Hendricks now stepping up. Got a long way to go there, and he is great effort. He's close, but he's not quite going to get there. He needed to get to the 37, and they're marking it at the 35. So fantastic effort.
Yes, young lunge got in there.
Yeah, I did too. Let's take a look at this spot. Great effort.
He reaches out, but he might have already been.
Oh,
my goodness.
That's a very poor spot.
I think they're ruling that his left foot must have hit the sideline there because he clearly reached the ball farther. But
boy, his whole body was over the 36-yard line.
That's a tough spot for that North offense.
Man.
This is where if we had a red flag in Coach Lemker's back pocket, we'd be seeing that. That was a heck of an effort by Hendricks. And we have the benefit of the replay, obviously, but it certainly looked a lot closer than where they marked it.
So 2:29 to go, South. And hard giving to Raines. Boy, the snap came earlier than everybody expected, but look at this. Raines into the secondary, and he's going to go for a touchdown.
How was that not it? There had to have been some kind of a...
Yeah, there's a flag.
Yeah, somewhere there had to have been. Because 84 didn't even make a play on Ryan Seahawk didn't even make a play.
Let's see what they're calling here.
They're going to give him a touch. They're going to decline it. Yeah, they were going to let him score.
Wow,
Yeah,
they are giving them the touchdown just to give themselves an opportunity. It was an illegal motion
Why would
penalty,
you, why you do that? You're down by more than a touchdown now.
Yeah, because making this decision, allowing that touchdown, you got to go the length of the field, score, and then get an onside kick.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a tough uphill battle.
I think I'd rather be playing defense.
Yeah, because if you're playing defense, you got the chance of a fumble, a bad snap, an intercept.
Right.
You know, you got a number of things that could happen.
Gonna go a little fake, Hart throwing, but intercepted by Mazinga.
Oh, there's gonna be a late hit right there on Justice Chaffee.
Chafee.
Or Chafee, as some people call him.
Huh, interesting.
Kind of a strange sequence of events here all around. Is that touchdown by
Yeah.
Raines that like half the players didn't realize the play had started.
I think they had directive from Coach Lamkert to maybe let them score as quick as possible, because I mean there was a number of guys that had a chance to make the tackle that didn't appear interested.
And when
I think what they're thinking is,
why would you turn the penalty down?
I think what they're thinking is that, Bill, that they're just going to run the clock out on us if we don't. This way, okay, we can get the ball back, maybe score a touchdown, maybe get an onside kick, roll the dice, and he's figuring that if they let it play out as it was, that they were just going to run out of time.
And again, that's where those used timeouts early in the half really could come into play.
Schlichty rolling right, throwing back over the middle, and a nice catch in traffic by Robbie Grimsley. So they ultimately get the 2-point conversion after initially stopping it, but taking a roughing the passer penalty. So make it a 21-10 game here for the South All-Stars as they look to continue their streak here in this All-Star game. Last year they won by 15, they won by 10 the year before that, and by a dozen the year before, after North had won the first resumption of North versus South in 2011 over at TCF Bank Stadium.
Well, that was an interesting sequence. I have to say I'm totally baffled by the whole affair there.
So look at Raines running the ball here, and clearly they're at least don't attempt to tackle him here at the end.
Well, Seahawk looks like you knew that the play was
Dead,
should have been
almost,
dead.
yeah.
You know, and usually a motion penalty on the offense, that's a dead ball foul. That ball's never going to get snapped.
Is that even declinable?
And usually that's not a declinable type of a thing. So I'm bamboozled by this.
Flomo drifting back to take it at the 2. And he will be spun down just shy of the 20-yard line. North will get the ball back. 2:11 to go, but they are now down by 11 points.
I don't know if you can get an 11-point touchdown in conversion here.
No, but you got to score quickly. You got to score quickly,
twice.
and then you got to have a lot of things go right for the North team here to get back. And the way their offense has looked this afternoon, I think that's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's going to be a problematic 80-yard effort.
Hendricks will try and get something started here from the 20 for the North team under pressure, throwing. Oh, and a nice play defensively by Ben Farrell, getting the hand in to knock that one away. Tried to go to Brooks Carroll.
Well, Farrell, good position. Look at his backhand, I think, was clearly on the back of the receiver. But if you're a defensive back, you love these kind of situations because you know the ball's going to be in the air. And as a defensive end, rushing the passer, you love it because you can pin your ears back. And it's not an easy offensive situation for this North offense.
No, the offensive line, they're going to have their hands full with the pass rush, and the D-backs are going to be getting their hands all over the receivers.
Hendricks under pressure, throwing it for Brandt and incomplete. Pretty well bracketed over there out on the right side. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and 10 as they have really continued to struggle to protect the quarterbacks all day.
Well, and I think Hendricks knows he's got pressure coming. He's just having to get rid of it maybe a second or so before he normally would like to. And in result, the receivers aren't even getting into their routes.
No.
So 3rd down and 10. Hendricks will tuck it up and go here, makes a nice move at the line and then goes down. Covered there by Graham Miller, and bring up a 4th and about 9 though.
I think if anything, it shows, to be a great quarterback at any level, high school, college, NFL, you got to have a good line. You got to at least have the time, for you to be able to set up and see what the defense is doing, where your receivers are. And James Hendricks is a heck of an athlete, heck of a quarterback. He just has not had the time to make plays here today.
Yeah, you got to have a chance to make the play.
4th down, stepping up this time. Hendricks will run, and he will get the 1st down and then step out of bounds out over the 30. And Walker delivering a hit right about the time he stepped out. The South didn't like it that well as Mel Peterson was sent sprawling.
Smart play by Hendricks there, just recognizing, hey, there's nothing going on. Let's keep this drive going.
Yep. Got to move the sticks, and he did a good job of getting the 1st down and then stepping out of bounds.
Out of bounds, yep.
From the 32-yard line, they'll move the ball back now. 1st and 10 for the North. Trailing it 21-10, just the 1 touchdown that they've had on the pass from Hendricks to Mazinga.
Yeah, I thought the North, you go back to that, they had 4 chances in the first half down on the goal line, couldn't get it in there, and that really kind of decided maybe the way this game was going to go.
Yeah. Gunnar Bloom catching the screen and dropped immediately, and we get a little more bad blood here late in the game as things got physical here. Bloom right in the middle of the bunch, and he kind of got body slammed a little bit, and the guys didn't like that so well. Peterson was the guy who got kind of blindsided at the end of that 1st down play.
He's got a chip.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of the scuffles so far today.
Oh, and nearly intercepted. He tried to go to Brandt, diving try by Grant Moser there, and he got his fingertips on it, but it falls incomplete. So 3rd down and 10 here, 39 ticks left on the clock. See what North has in mind here to try and get a chunk of yardage here. Low snap, handoff goes to Flomo, and he has a lot of room to work with. Chase to the outside, Flomo trying to get to the sideline, and then the ball pops loose. It's up in the air and a big scramble for it. Looks like it'll get out of bounds.
And it'll be a 1st down.
Yep, after all that, it ends up being a 1st down for the North. See right here as he turns back to the outside, chased down, and Garrett Gardner ripped it out, but it ends up there out of bounds on the recovery. So at the 45, 1st and 10. But time obviously a factor, and Hendricks will spike it here with 21 seconds to go. Kind of felt like I'm surprised that run by Flomo didn't take more time than it did there. I looked around and
it looked like he was going to be all day long with that. And then to lose the ball.
So the North trying to play it out to the end here. You might, you give your guy an opportunity to make a play, but
yeah, you never know exactly what's going to.
If they have any chance here, they got to score on this play. They got to have a little bit of time for an onside kick and one more offensive play.
Fake the reverse, and then Hendricks in trouble, and he's going to go down as Ryan gets to him.
Well, very well covered by the South. They had two defensive backs playing deep, nothing behind them.
And that's going to be the end of the football game here. They got guys too far downfield to get back and get this ball snapped again. So the game is going to end with a 21-10 victory for the South All-Stars.
Strange way to finish it.
Yeah, it really was. A fun game, though. I mean, it was all defense early, and then the offense has got some things figured out. I think the South was just more consistent in being able to get some things going.
Especially in the fourth quarter. They really did a nice job of putting together in the fourth quarter.
Well, I thought the difference, too, Ryan Schlichty at quarterback, making quick, good decisions, had a little bit more time. The quarterbacks for the North team, Michael Veldman and James Hendricks, never had time to make plays. And I give hats off to the South defensive line for really forcing that issue.
Absolutely.
So the South wins it here 21-10. We'll be back with more of our coverage. We'll be hearing from the MVPs for both teams coming up in a bit here on 12 Sports. 21-10 South, the final. We'll be right back to St. Cloud State.
Why not on the go? Channel 12 is online at 12.tv. Watch on your phone, on your tablet. Channel 12 is your local source wherever you go. Just log on to 12.tv. Check out our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and even watch live events via live stream. So don't wait. Stay up to date with Channel 12 and 12.tv, your local source.
21-10 victory for the South All-Stars over the North. Each year they pick an offensive and defensive MVP from each team, and all four of those guys are standing by with Allie.
Thanks, guys. I've got the four MVPs right here, two on the south to my right, two on the north to my left. We'll start with Jacob Johnson from Blue Earth area. Jacob playing linebacker today. What did this All-Star game feel like for you?
It was amazing. It was a lot of fun.
What was the best part between, having 7 days at St. John's University and playing today? What was the most fun part for you?
Definitely playing. Playing football is always a lot of fun.
Will you continue playing football after high school here?
Perhaps.
All right, we're thinking about it. All right, and then on the other end here, we've got Connor Watts, who we chatted with earlier. Connor, you put one of the touchdowns on the board for your team. Talk about this game and just what it kind of feels like to now have an all-star game under your belt.
It feels great. I mean, all the guys that worked hard, and every single guy deserves this award, and I'm honored to have it, and yeah.
Honored to have it. You're MVP for the winning team. It's got to feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, it does, and throughout the week we've been putting a lot of work, and I just, again, thank my teammates for the hard work they put in and getting me better every single day.
All right, thanks, guys. Now on the north side, we didn't quite get the result that we were looking for, but Derek Porozinski, you had a great game today. We chatted with you a little bit earlier too. What was this experience like for you as a whole, getting to represent your state?
It was a lot of fun. It was really different though. The competition is such at a higher level. We're having everybody who's really good around Minnesota coming to play, and it's just really fun.
What was your most memorable moment out on the field today?
I would say definitely the safety. That was fun.
That was a crucial turning point for you guys. All right, then we've got John Santiago here. John, you had quite a good game too. You were on both ends of the ball, I believe, and having a good time out there. What was this game like for you?
Well, the game was fun, but I think throughout the week was the best part because we got to bond with new people across the whole state. So that's always a fun experience, and getting to know where people are from or how small their schools are compared to like other people's that come from thousands. But yeah, it was fun.
Did you get to? Will you be playing football at UND?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you meet some guys you'll be playing against, and then teammates too today?
Yeah, I played against my buddy Carl Angwa. He's the DN for the South, and yeah, We didn't really have any beef, but it was fun playing against each other. And then Jade Lawrence was on the north, and he's a great back, and it's going to be fun when we go up to UND with all of them.
All right, you got a couple fans behind you yelling for you. All right, so these 4 MVPs were standouts in the game today. All of the guys here who played today were all standouts here for our state in Minnesota. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Allie, and great job on the sideline today, and appreciate talking to all these players that we've had a chance to talk to. So the South team winning at 21-10. Hats off to the 4 MVPs. Want to give a little quick mention to the guys from our area on Channel 12 that were in this game today too. Adam Brandt and Clark Winnicky of Maple Grove. Jake Schopper from Osseo, also from Breck School, Karsten Salveson, and then the 3 Totino Grace kids, Mitch Webb, Ben Mazinga, and Kez Flomo. Hope you've enjoyed today's telecast. For Ryan Iverson, Bill Hunstock, Allie Arlt, and all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. So long from St. Cloud State University at the Minnesota All-Star Football Game.